Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Dungeon Crawler Network podcast for August 2015. This podcast has been recorded on Friday, August 7th, 2015 at, dear goodness, probably about 9 p.m. Starting late, I know. I am your host, Aggelos, the founder of Dungeon Crawler Network, and with me this afternoon, I have a couple people, actually, and it's pretty awesome, to be honest. One of which being a cat that's behind me. I know you guys can't see it in the video because my recording's not here right now, but there is a cat right behind me standing on my stuff. But also joining me, again this month, Crabby. How are you today, sir?
No, I'm good. I'm happy to be back and messing with the show notes right here. It's pretty good.
Oh,
Pretty funny.
yeah. You better not be putting frickin' Farmville in there again. I'm literally going to punch you. I don't even care.
No.
He's desperately trying to delete it right now.
Desperately trying to delete
No Farmville.
No Farmville. All right. Good. No frickin' Farmville. That's got to be a thing for Dungeon Crawler. Yeah, Farmville. Let's talk about that. All right. Sounds good.
Field. Cool.
Cool.
Hit buttons.
The other guys that are joining us, they're kind of new to this show, but not necessarily new to the network if you've been around. First off, we have Setsua. You might have seen him streaming every once in a while on our channel. And also, he is the new lead host of our Final Fantasy podcast, Chocobo Knights. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing quite well, man. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for coming on. I know I kind of told you late as well about the show.
Oh, no, it's not a problem, man. I always enjoy coming on and just hanging out with my friends.
Nice. And the guy who literally got a Skype message about 10 minutes before we started. Brodin, how are you, sir?
Good. Tired. Friday, though. So I'm good. I don't have to wake up tomorrow. I'm happy.
I should have brought my mead in because I've been brewing my own mead, and I finally opened my first batch, and it is strong as all get out. It's like 17% alcohol, but it tastes amazing, and I should just drink that at the beginning of every show. That should be my thing right now.
Makes every show even better.
Chug! I'd chug, I'd be dead. Yeah!
I got a gallon of milk I can drown.
Wow.
Ew.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, that's a lot worse than you would think. Like, it is terrible. Trying to drink a gallon of milk within 10 minutes is a life decision you will regret for the rest of your life.
Milk was a
I know this out of experience, but I mean, let's not talk about that at
Yeah.
the dark time.
It's dark.
I'm brand new to the whole entire thing here. I haven't been around. I've been in one other podcast so far, so this is my second one. You beat episode 2 of Chocobo Knights by a day, so I mean, this is my second appearance.
I know, right? Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, before we get going, we got to first talk about our sponsors. And we have awesome sponsors, because this episode is brought to you by awesome fans like Kilted Piper and Kipster, who became Patreon supporters this month, as well as a special donation from our DCN Tamriel crew. Thank you guys for your donation. And if you're into the Elder Scrolls Online, which you should be, Brodin, stop it. They're an awesome podcast.
Do you want to do this in the podcast? Do you really want to throw down now?
How about we wait till after sponsors?
There you go.
All right, wait.
You issued the challenge. Just keep that in mind.
I hear you, man. All right. DCN Tamriel, check them out. Great group of people. Love them to death. Thank you guys so much, and definitely check them guys out. I think it's youtube.com/DCN Tamriel. I'm sorry, I should look it up, but check them out. Just search it, find them, subscribe to them. Do it now, because they're great. If you're currently not supporting Dungeon Crawler Network and wish to help us out, consider donating or becoming a patron of ours on our Patreon page. You can find the links to both of these on the bottom of our website, dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. If you're unable to support us financially, but you still want to help us out, you can do this by subscribing to our YouTube channel, leaving us a review on iTunes, or tell a friend about us, man. We'd love getting more people to listen. All of this stuff helps us out, and we have the best community out there, so definitely Thank you for your support, guys. It's host game time. Let's talk about what we've been playing this month. Let's start with our guest, Brodin. Brodin, what have you been playing all this month?
I did a lot of Arkham Knight as of late. I've been playing that a lot.
You on PC? Oh, wait!
Not on PC. No way. Not on PC. No.
That's okay. No one's
FPS
playing it on PC.
No, I've been doing it on PS4. It's actually a pretty good game. I've been enjoying it. I wasn't a fan of Arkham City, but this one is a lot better in my opinion. So, been having fun with it. Other than that, Final Fantasy 14. Nothing really else. Like that's been. Oh, I play Destiny, but that's more of just a ritual weekly thing with my sister now. But other than that, no, just those for the time being. See if anything else
And I
pops
know
up.
you guys can't see this right now, but this is perfect product placement for my bank because I'm slipping out of my my Camelback thing here, and it's got right on it. So, is now sponsoring us as well. They may not know it, but they are. They sponsor us because they pay my salary, which pays for all of this. So, or most of it, since Patreon supporters throw in there and help us out. But supporting us.
Whether they know it or not.
I know, I'm probably going to get sued. I'm going to get fired. Like, they're just going to find this, and they're going to fire me. But they shouldn't.
How dare you?
They shouldn't. I may have to edit that out. I don't know. I don't know. They're pretty big about social media, as most places are. So it's like, if it's found out, my marketing girls will just come at me like crazy. So
It's not like you said anything bad.
no, they're the best bank. I'm proud to work for them. That's why I'm drinking
There you
out of
go.
it on stream. Mm.
So who cares? You're
Yeah,
good.
exactly. I probably.
Positive
I'm not
product
wearing the right colors. I don't know. Anyway. All right, Crabby. How about you, sir? What have you been playing this month?
A whole lot of ESO, and I did another for some reason. I've been on kind of an adventure game kick. I don't know why.
You should
I ended up
pimp your channel here too.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, so I kind of been getting my YouTube channel going again with Let's Plays of like adventure type games, basically choosing all the horrible jerk actions possible. So if you've ever played The Walking Dead season 1 or 2, I replayed season 2 this past month, and I chose like the most awful, terrible decisions a 10-year-old girl in the zombie apocalypse could choose. Killing off so many people is awesome. It was ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to check out my YouTube channel, it's youtube.com/Crabby CRABBY 654. Yeah, I've been playing that. Honestly, mostly ESO though. I've been trying to slowly hammer out those veteran ranks, which are a drag.
Well, next patches are being
Right.
reduced by like 15%.
Oh, gee, that's
Eh.
great.
I actually don't think they're that bad. I don't think they're that bad.
Yeah. Well, when I'm trying to set up a trials group for it, and I'm only VR8, it's kind of annoying. Because now I have to level
Sorry,
up
that's-
again to.
We could probably do it with like, you can bring sub max level people, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you
Well,
play
and-
Resto Destro, you'll probably still do more damage than most people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's been my week, my month though. ESO and Telltale games, pretty much.
Nice. Setsua, how about you, sir?
Oh, I've mostly just been playing A Realm Reborn and just trying to get to Heaven's Ward so I can start playing the Dark Knight soon.
I've been waiting on Thais to get there too, because after listening to your podcast, I've been wanting to resub, but I know I'm not going to like the game. And it's just because of aesthetics. That is the only reason. Like,
You're
because
crazy.
everything else is so good. Like, it really, Crabby, I'm telling you. Like,
That
I know
game, that game bleeds the feel of a Final Fantasy game. If you like
it-
Final
yeah.
Fantasy,
I don't know how to. I don't know how to tell you this, but it does have Final and Fantasy in its title.
Yeah,
so I-
but no, okay, but I'm saying, but think about it. How many single player franchises turn into MMOs and they're totally different? You know, I mean,
lot.
like,
Like Elder Scrolls Online.
No, seriously, I mean, Elder Scrolls is pretty different. Warcraft was, it went from
Warcraft
don't-
is
RTS.
insanely different.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about World of Warcraft because I'll never get my Warcraft for it.
Me neither.
No,
yeah.
you won't.
Probably not. Okay. All right. Well, I guess my game time, mostly Elder Scrolls Online. I hit veteran rank 1 on my one alt, and I've been trying to get my other alts up to veteran rank so I can start earning champion points no matter what I play. I've been farming and doing writs for the Ambrosia stuff. So I've been doing that. But otherwise, we've been doing veteran DSA with a group. We have a progression group for that now. Myself, Arcaneer, Kipster, hey Kip, and Siri in here.
Like an iPhone, like
no,
Siri
not
from
that
an
Siri, not
iPhone?
that.
Because that would have been weird.
Yeah. Well, she plays better than me anyway. Just talk to my phone, say play my Templar, and she goes, all right, and just does it. But we've been doing really good. We got all the way up to the final boss last night. No, 2 nights ago. And that we're learning it. We're getting through it, but we've been tearing through it. So we got all the way up to like round 8 with like still 80 lives, and it was only our second time in there. At least for 2 people, it was only their second time. I finished it on normal, but not veteran, and did that. And we got our one guy's going on holiday, so we're off for like a week, and then we're going to go back in next week, or 2 weeks from now, and hopefully get a clear. Yeah, that's that. I've been playing World of Warcraft, obviously.
Gross.
Very, very casually. I mean, so casually you can call me Crabby.
Gross.
It's only because Warcraft is one of those games I can never get away from, and they've been doing the thing where they've been adding legendaries, but not in the way they were before. They do expansion-wide legendaries now. That's going to be their new thing for like the rest of forever, I guess. Where they're not
legendary. They're not legendaries. They're artifacts.
Well, no,
relics.
not that one. We'll talk about that later. But since Mist of Pandaria, they've not released other legendaries that are drops from raids. What they're doing now is it's from the beginning of the expansion, you get a quest, and every time a new patch comes out, they add more quest steps, and at the end of it, you get a legendary item. The caveat is when the expansion is over, they remove the quest chain, and you can never get it.
Yep.
So, I was a legendary farmer. I have almost all of them on my one character, and so it is something tears at the heart of me that I have to go back and do it. And when the ring came out, it came out, the ring's out, I'm like, all right, I'll sub, I'll play LFR once a week, I'll get my stuff, and I'll eventually get I'll just chain through the quest, get the legendary, and that's all I'm doing. I'm doing it for the legendary, but I do it all through LFR, I do it all that's it.
That's what I've been doing, so I can't really blame you.
Yeah, it's really it, because if the ring would have been still there and I could go back and farm it later, I would not have probably subbed all Warlords of Draenor, but they're not. They're doing like after Mist, like I finished Mist, I got my thing, and this is before I knew it. I'm like, I'm good. I wasn't planning on playing Warlords, but I kind of fell off of Warcraft news, and then as I'm listening to Warlords, we're doing another legendary quest. Oh, okay, well, I get that. That's kind of neat. I like the idea of the legendary quest line. It's neat. It's something that you could do the entire expansion long. It doesn't make you feel as exclusive as having a legendary, but it's neat. But then I found out, like, I went on one of my other alts, and I'm like, I'm gonna go back and get the cloak one just so I can have it, and the quest is gone. And I had to look it up, and I realized, oh, they remove it. And then that's what made me resub and try to get it, because I can't not have the legendary. Yeah, that's it.
How do you not like Final Fantasy XIV? Like, that's something that will take you forever. Get all of the Zodiac weapons.
No, you know what? Okay. Aurum Vale. The book for Aurum Vale is what makes me not like it.
It's not that bad anymore.
Yeah, it was when I was...
Get a bunch of level 60s to run in there and just massacre everything.
Everything that is Final Fantasy 14, I love, except for the setting. And I do like Final Fantasy, don't get me wrong, but I miss my dwarves. I love
I honestly feel, and I mean this quite literally, you would like Heavensward because it's not as lighthearted, it's not as like colorful. A lot of it is like snow-covered environments. I mean, there's a few forest areas and stuff, but it's not.
Ooh,
It's a lot darker.
Environments.
It's a lot darker overall than the original game was.
Right.
And I mean it too. Like there is not like any point in time I can really think of in the storyline where I was like, oh, everyone's happy. No.
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 It's also I'm a traditional high fantasy guy, like D&D high fantasy. I love my dwarves. I never play dwarves, but I just love them being there.
You got dragon people.
That's actually one of the things that annoys me about Elder Scrolls is that the Dwemer are gone. I love the mystery. Even though they're mostly elves, they're not really dwarves, if you get technical. But it's just, I like the dwarves, and I love my traditional fantasy races, and Lalafell are not dwarves. And
Lalafell are awesome, all right?
They weren't supposed to be dwarves, so I wouldn't worry about that.
No, I know, they're not. They're like a short race, but they're not dwarves, and
But at the same time, this is Final Fantasy. Name a Final Fantasy that really has a bunch of dwarves.
One. Final Fantasy 1 has both elves and dwarves.
Yep. And after that?
I know. That's my favorite.
So, I mean, dwarves...
I know.
Final Fantasy kind of went its own direction when it comes to its own setting, which I like. They're not the same as, like, everybody else, so I kind of appreciate that. I don't have, dwarves, elves, and all of the stereotypical things in every single game. Elves show up a lot, but they're elves.
Yeah.
So whatever.
I think it's not as bad as Korea, but most Asian countries
It
have.
sounded bad.
It's true. No, it's true.
Korea is really bad.
When it comes to
okay,
gaming,
I can't even.
Gameplay sucks, but you got huge boob physics. Okay, that's all that matters. Like
I can't. You're about to start a terror rant, and that is a bad thing.
I know. It's like, can you design nipple armor and make the boobs bounce? If you can, $100,000 a year, done. That's all it is. But I think it's an obsession. Like even more so. What's really funny is America's obsessed with beauty. It just is. And yet in MMOs and games, Asian countries, more so than anything, shy away from anything that's grotesque. Or like if you look at the races, everything is either super cute or very pretty. The reason why they don't have dwarves in Final Fantasy is because they're kind of gruff. They're kind of ugly.
They were in Final Fantasy 4.
They were in 4?
Yeah, they were the underground people.
Maybe.
The Dwarf Kingdom in like the underground area, but you couldn't see their faces. It was all black with their helmet and yellow eyes. They looked a lot like Vivi.
I don't know. It's just I feel like orcs and dwarves are things that we're like, no, we like pretty things. That's why the elves made it into Final Fantasy at the Elysian, because they're pretty.
I mean, now we have a dragon race now. You have your dragon king.
And are they not pretty?
I mean, everybody in this game is pretty, but it's not as bad as Korea. At least we have.
Well, no, I do give them that. It's not a Korean game with the insane boob physics.
It's still a Japanese game, so no. I mean, for the most part, everybody's very pretty. There's a few races that aren't considered pretty, but they're like very manly, and that's a cultural difference now because you're considering Western culture versus the Eastern culture, and Japan doesn't like the big, dark and gritty masculine men as characters.
Yeah.
So they don't really add things like dwarves and things like that.
And I appreciate that. I do appreciate that as a person that, like, hey, they went their own way. That's great. But I am a high fantasy lover. I'm a Tolkienite through and through.
Oh, me too. Like, don't get me wrong. I love D&D. I love Tolkien. I love everything of traditional high fantasy. But
that's just
I don't consider Final Fantasy high fantasy, as weird as that statement is to hear.
Yeah, it's a fantasy. No, it's true. It's not high fantasy. It's fantasy, but it's also kind of steampunky. It's a
you got your. Well, it depends on the Final Fantasy too, because if you have games like 8, that's just completely futuristic.
True, but then you have games like Tactics, which are completely medieval.
Yeah, but you can play 15 when it comes out in 10 years, where you're a boy band. And
I've already played 15, so I mean,
so I mean, you could do
It
that.
is what it is. I don't. Like you said, that's perfect. I'm not. I like high
cultural
fantasy
difference.
with the entire traditional high fantasy. If
You
you
like
could
Western
take
fantasy.
Final Fantasy 14, everything about it, and just strip it out and make it a high fantasy, it would be my be-all, end-all game. It really would.
Then you're not taking everything, because you're not taking the airships and the steampunk or the Empire, which is all like gun blades and robot armor and stuff.
I wouldn't even care if they tied it in with like dwarves or something, or the Emperor were like orcs or something. Something that
You are so obsessed with dwarves. I don't. Is there something you want to tell everybody?
I love dwarves, and I just do. I think they're funny. I love dwarves. Okay, there's actually a game coming out called like Dwarf Fortress, and I'm buying it just because. I don't even care. Done. Anyway, all right, that's game time. Come on, Crabby, and I gotta say this before we start. I know you love dwarves because that's our favorite kind of magic. That's all I gotta say.
I love dwarves. I'm not gonna lie, I love dwarves. They're hilarious.
Wait,
I love them.
Say favorite kind of magic.
Come
What?
on, Crabby. Come on, Crabby. That's my favorite kind of magic.
Lesbomancy.
Come on, you gotta love dwarves.
Yeah, well, all right. The dwarves in the Witcher series are phenomenal.
Hilarious, aren't they? They're great.
Yeah, they are.
They're just the most vulgar things of any game ever with dwarves. It's
All I
amazing.
gotta say is, for the next 10 seconds or 20 seconds, if you have young kids watching, please skip ahead. I love the dwarves going, what is it, like, can you keep a secret? Do pigs have tied? I don't know, man. Do they? It's
Why do you
just
know that?
saying. You're the only one saying it. I love the dwarves.
The
okay?
dwarves in The Witcher 2 are pretty amazing.
I'm gonna have to beep all that out. I don't even care. All right. I've been playing Guild Wars 2 a little bit as well, but honestly, the only thing I do for Guild Wars 2 is I log in, click my daily rewards, and then I log off. I played a little bit of the Living World Story 2 to try to catch up, but that was...
I was gonna say, you do more than I do in Guild Wars 2. I log on like maybe once every 3 months and go like, why did I log on? And then I log off.
I do it mostly so I get the tomes, so when the Revenant comes out, I'll have like a full 80 tomes to be 80 in the first day. It's the only reason why I do it. Yeah, so that's my game time for this month. Not much. It sounds like a lot, but with the baby, it's really not that. Oh, I've been playing Final Fantasy X a good bit too, because while we're back in the bedroom with the baby, like if he's feeding or something, I'll play through 10. I've been playing through that. That's been
The remaster of 10?
Oh yeah, remaster.
Vita.
Yeah. All right, so that was our game time. We're going to talk about what's going on this month well, not this month, but yeah, kind of what's going on in Dungeon Crawler Network. First off, which is kind of good, we have at the two bottom squares here in our video, which I know you guys can't quite see yet, but you will when it goes live. We have the two of the four hosts from Chocobo Knights. That would be Setsua and Brodin. That's our new Final Fantasy podcast on the Dungeon Crawler Network. And Setsua, do you and Brodin want to give us just a little synopsis of what you guys hope to accomplish and that kind of deal?
Well, I know what I hope to accomplish is to kind of bring all the Final Fantasy fans kind of just together and have fun, and definitely just have fun talking about Final Fantasy.
Okay. And Brodin, I know you just joined us for this. What kind of got you interested in Final Fantasy and podcasting?
Well, I've been honestly thinking about trying to do a podcast for a while. I just haven't had a way to do it. And the reason I even got in touch with Setsua is because I, at my work, get really bored, and I go to the Final Fantasy 14 forums and just listen to people complain about things that are going on that absolutely make no sense.
Hard.
Yeah, that's been a pretty popular topic, but that's not the in complaint topic anymore. It's paladins don't do enough damage.
Oh gosh.
Think about that for a second. My DPS as a tank isn't high enough.
That's just stupid.
So I mean, that's been the.
To me.
I know. It's just like, do you know what your job is as a paladin?
Are you
get hit
taught?
in the face. You get hit in the face. That's your job. You don't. No. So that's the current in topic to people complain about, and then it's like red scripts or something as well. But those are two big ones that people are complaining about. But I saw his like, I'm looking for co-host posts, and I just sent him an email because I don't ever log in on the forums.
Yeah,
I read them, but I don't log in. So I sent him a Gmail, and I was like, "Hey, I saw this post," and talked to him about it. But I mean, it's mainly because like I run a panel at a convention, and it like a magazine press guy was there and got in contact with us and was like, "Do you guys want to do this?" It's like, I don't know at the time, and it was kind of a missed opportunity.
right.
And then like I saw this one, I was like, "Yeah, all right, I'm just gonna jump for it, whatever." And here I am.
Nice.
I mean, it's something I just enjoy doing. Like I do it all the time in my free time, just talking with my friends and contemplating lore, talking about stupid mechanics or anything else that's just on our topic when it comes to RPGs or games or in general. So I mean,
It all works
just
out.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just a new outlet to do it on, and now people get to watch me be stupid.
I fully understand. That's what made me. I was on several podcasts before for Guild Wars 2. I never did it myself, but when Elder Scrolls Online came out, I love the Elder Scrolls series, and I'm like, you know what? This was something I loved doing back in the heyday of World of Warcraft when all my friends were playing. Now it's all my friends have, not like gotten jobs, because most of my friends didn't have jobs. They finally got them. I've always had one and somehow managed to still be able to play. But for them, it's like, no, I can't do it now. It's like, so, I've lost a lot of my friends that used to game a lot with me and used to talk about gamings. And so now it was something like, I just want to talk about games more. So I found people to do it, and that's why we're here.
I hear you there, though. Don't worry. Like, I work 40 hours a week, and I have to herd cats. That's being a raid leader, by the way. I have to herd cats in Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, I know all about herding cats. It's
Oh, yeah.
I was a
So,
raid
I
leader,
mean,
too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like people are like, "Oh, I don't have free time. I work 40 hours a week." It's like I find enough free time to be a raid leader, free company leader, guild leader, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
Play my games, do this, spend time with my girlfriend. I just don't sleep. That's my secret.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I go
same here.
to bed. I go to bed at
And
2
now you're doing
a.m. and I wake up
podcasting
at.
with us, so it's like, so I'm podcasting, I'm playing my games.
I'm playing my game right now. I mean, that's not interfering
I
in
would
at all.
be if I wasn't main hosting. I'd do that sometimes, but this show's a little different, so I can't. So.
I got two screens, so it doesn't matter to me.
I got 2 screens as well, but I'm
Speaking of which, Final Fantasy just finished installing for me, so it's
Oh, nice.
We're
Don't-
taking over.
I refuse to sub because I know I'm not going to enjoy it. Like I enjoy everything.
One of us.
I enjoy everything about the game. Mechanics are fun. I actually love the. I know. I'm just no. Everything
It's
about it is such a fun MMO.
And it's just funny to me because you're like, I love collecting legendaries. It's like that's a huge
I
thing
know.
in
I
this
know.
game. Like they even give you a title for
I
it,
know.
like a unique title if you get them all. So
Trust
it's just
me.
like,
I'm sitting here. I listen to your guys' show because I edit it, of course. But then I'm also listening to it after I edit it, and I'm like, I want to play again. But then I'm like, but I know I'm not gonna like it.
well, maybe
I mean,
it's
I'll
because
like it
you
at
didn't play with
first.
the right people.
Oh, I love playing with it, but it's still just I'm like I know I'm not gonna like it because it's not the genre, like the setting that I like, and that just draws me away. It just does. I know it's
Like I said,
stupid, but it does.
Evan's Ward is darker.
Just no, we're not talking about
And
that
it's-
anymore.
It's like knights versus dragons. I mean,
Not talking about it anymore. We're gonna move on.
kind of like Dragon Knights.
well, it's called a dragoon, but I'm just.
I had a 50 Dragoon. I actually had a 50 Dragoon, 50 Warrior, 50.
Well, see that was actually supposed to be a terrible segue to skipping the topic after this one, but it didn't.
Yeah, I know, but it totally didn't go anywhere.
I know, but
Yeah.
we skipped something.
Talking
Anyway,
about Dragon Knights.
episode. No, we're not doing that yet. We're not doing that yet. Nice try. Episode 75 of Tales was a great show for us because it was definitely a fan appreciation one, and this is where I can tell you not my fans, sorry, our fans as a network are the best because I put out a call saying, "Hey, it'd be really great." We had like 48 5-star, like 48 reviews on our iTunes podcast, and I put out a call going, "Hey, it'd be really great if we got up to 75 reviews by our 75th episode." Kind of like a joke. A lot of people stepped up. We didn't hit 75, but we hit like 62. So that was really awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, like all 5s. We got like almost 20 5-star reviews in a week. It's like, you guys were the best. And as part of that, one of the podcast or one of the reviewers gave us a 5-star. But I tend to knock Ocarina of Time a lot on the internet. I know I have a death wish. I knock Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time like crazy because my wife loves it, and I can't stand the little kid with the booger hanging out of his nose every 3 seconds. And
I was gonna say, do you want to finish that statement? You knock it without.
Oh yeah, I knock it without playing it because I've played all of like 10 minutes, and I'm like, wow. This is going to be an adult-rated show. I'm going to edit that out too. I have so much editing to do. I'm so glad you guys aren't doing it. I'm just terrible.
I can start if you want.
No, don't make me work more. I really shouldn't. But that's how much I feel like doing that. But as he's like, I should play it before I knock it because my wife loves it. So I put out a challenge that if we get 100 likes on the video, I will somehow figure out how to capture my gameplay and commentary and play all the way through it. We're already up to like 31 likes or something like that. So looks like I may have to do it.
Start looking. Start getting it ready.
I know. Crap. So that's out there. So if anyone's interested in watching me play Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and by the end wanting to shoot Navi with a shotgun,
I'll give you that one. No, I'll defend the game because it's good, but no, everyone wants to kill them.
Yeah.
See, what you should do at 200 likes, you should play Animal Crossing for like a month on GameCube.
Animal Crossing.
You could give me like $500 when I want to do that for a week.
I used to wake up at 6 a.m. before school playing Animal Crossing, and I'd open it up, and that game was weird because you wake up the game. It would be 6 a.m. in the game, and they'd be like working out and like just waking up, and I'm like, oh, this is so creepy.
Screw this game. It's making me feel bad about myself.
Yeah. Well, it's like the game was like it went by real time, and they did activities. It was really weird.
Anyway, no, we're not. I'm not even putting myself on that chopping block. We have a new Dragonknight Tank guide out on Dungeon Crawler Network right now. Our resident guide writer, Esteldian, has put together a nice 2.1 guide for tanking on Dragonknight called, what is it? I wish I could remember the name now. Obsidian Fortress. Now, the main reason for doing this was in 2.1, Update 7 with Imperial City, they're changing the way blocking works. When you block, tanks in Elder Scrolls Online pretty much just held their shield up like this constantly. That's what they did. They're changing it that when you do that, you no longer regenerate stamina. So the whole idea is to make it so people only block when they see big attacks coming. And this build, the way it's done, we ran through a veteran dungeon, several trials, stuff like that, Craglorn, and he's discovered a way of doing it so that you can actually still hold your shield up the entire time and do really good. So you should check that build out if that's your interest. Something that's kind of up in the air, and I'm kind of curious to see how our community thinks, and we're going to be talking about it a little later, is a game called Sword Coast Legends. If you play games like Baldur's Gate or anything of that nature, it's a game like that. However, they offer, just like D&D, someone can be the dungeon master, design maps, and pretty much play the map while everyone else plays through it. You're playing the map. You can set off traps, throw monsters. I think that'd be really fun, and I'm really excited for the game, which we'll talk about a little later. So if anyone's interested in that, please get with me. Brodin, I see. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm raising my hand. Yeah. Like, what's up?
Yeah,
I would love to if I had the PC.
I don't know if it's coming to console or not, but if it does, I think it might be coming to console. I don't know how the DM or the Dungeon Master
Even if it
functions
does
with-
come to consoles, it'd be another entirely question if it's going to be a cross-server console.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not
It's
a lot of games do that.
Yeah, that's a.
Surprisingly enough, Rocket League does that. I was really surprised Rocket League did that.
Rocket League is so good.
That game is amazing. Look, it's the best game ever. You just log in for 5 minutes. Be like, I'm gonna do a match. I'm gonna drive my rocket
No,
powered
you,
car. And
you,
play
you
something.
guys, no, Crabby. You guys and that 5-minute mentality is what kills MMOs. Just so you know.
Yeah, but
I play
Yeah.
heavy MMOs, sir.
No,
Rocket
no,
League is a good
no.
game.
Games like that are problems.
no, they're
No,
not.
it's fun. It's what you can play while you're in the DPS queue wait on an MMO, because that's going to take you 30 minutes of nothing.
Yeah, queuing for MMOs and PvP has never been a thing for me in Dark Age of Camelot. So every time when I hear about queues and PvP, I just don't understand it because it just doesn't make sense to me. Why can't you just jump in there, start fighting, and then just call it a day? Why wait?
I said DPS queue.
Even though that doesn't make sense to me though. As an MMO PvP, Dark Age of Camelot, you just kind of went in there,
Well,
and it was like a big map. And
that-
there was really no queuing. as much.
yeah, but those games also require fairness on every side, so it's a team of 10 on 10. So you can't go in until each side has 10 players.
It depends on the battlefield, sure, but
Well,
like most of them just go
not-
in there and they
Not
just
in those
start fighting.
games. Not in those games. It's fair. It has to be 10 on 10. All right. Last two things. I'll be reorganizing the library section of DungeonCrawlerNetwork.com this month to make it a little easier to navigate, to find things such as the guides and other things like that in the library section only. Everything else is pretty clean, but I've been looking at the library section with all of our guides and stories and stuff, and I realize it's just become a giant cluster. So I'm going to try to organize it a little better. So that will be changing here in the future. The important thing to note is I'm going to try my best to maintain integrity of the links, because a lot of people have been viewing our site every day. Like 5,000 of you have been viewing our site daily to look at our Elder Scrolls Online guides. So I'm hoping I don't botch anything up. I'm probably just going to take a big snapshot of the server first before I move this stuff, because while on the website I want it to be a little bit more easy to navigate, I would rather not break the links, because so many of you guys have been relying on these guides that I don't want to break them. So we'll go for
what would be great would be an events button for
if you log into
Wings of Fate.
if you log in, Crabby, it's right on your taskbar.
No, it isn't. Let me look.
Yeah, it is. I will bet you that when you log in, there's an
I don't
events
see it.
button.
I don't see an events button. Am I crazy?
You're crazy.
Yes.
I don't see an events button.
When
I
you
don't.
sign in, and that little black bar across the top of your thing has events on it. And
Why
you-
can't it be on the default website?
I could, but I put it there so you could log
So I have to log into WordPress to find the events button.
do. Or you could just type in the web address. I will probably add it as a shortcut eventually,
Jesus
okay? Okay. That's something. All right, add it to the notes. Adding events button on the website.
Jeez.
Jeez. Gosh. Anyway.
Oh yeah, there's the events button. Okay.
Oh, what do
Oh.
you know? It's not like the website administrator knows what's going on. Just picking
Well,
on
I'm
you.
be
sorry.
fair.
I don't try to stay logged into the site because you can't see the whole top of the website with that black bar there.
Touche. Well played, sir. I got you. All right. Finally, I'm going to put out another casting call kind of deal. It's not really a casting call, but if you're at all interested in podcasting, and you don't have the means or knowledge to do it, but you would like to do it anyway, consider joining Dungeon Crawler Network. You can ask Setsua. Setsua.
Sorry, my mic it was on mute.
All right.
Yeah, no, definitely. Actually, that's how I started. I got everything from Dungeon Crawler Network just to start the Chocobo Knights Final Fantasy podcast. So you do definitely get help, and it's very much worth it because you get to meet a bunch of cool people and talk to everybody.
Yeah. And that's something that, like I said, with what we do, we'll get you the equipment, we'll get you the software. I honestly, if you want me to, I will edit the. I will handle all the editing and posting and all that. So pretty much all you do is talk about the games you love with your friends. I take care of all the rest, if you want me to. Not a bad deal. That's it. In particularly, we are looking for a few things. Obviously, podcasts that we're looking for fit under the dungeon crawler theme. So if it's an RPG, generally the fantasy type-ish, but we're flexible. I'm not real big on sci-fi
podcast.
ones.
I mean,
Yeah.
Call it Call of Duty podcast. We'll call it prestiging.
Prestiging.
Right? Can we do that? I think it sounds perfect.
Remember what I was doing with the sandpaper earlier? Yeah. We're specifically looking for podcasts. I mean, if you have a game that you want to talk about, let me know. I'm open, but I know we're specifically looking for things like Guild Wars 2, World of Warcraft, our D&D, because Sword Coast Legends. I know you can't see my face right now, but I'm excited. Exactly, Brodin's got it. Yeah, that's something. But if you have another game that kind of would fit under our thing and you want some help, let me know. I handle all the server side, everything like that. Nothing comes out of your pocket. We take care of it. Let me know. All right, guys, it's time for us to talk about gaming news this month, which is the fun part. I'm actually going to start off this entire thing with a question. Just a simple question, maybe. A little bit of background on this question first, after I say it's, how do you want your MMO to die? Ooh, ominous, kind of scary, right? The main reason why I say this is I've been thinking about this a lot, and Brodin, you can talk to me about this one as well. Ever since Final Fantasy XI announced its was Rhapsodies of Vana'diel, which is they've come out and said, listen, guys, this is our final expansion. This will wrap up the entire story of Vana'diel, but we're not going to take the servers down. We're going to let it go. We'll just go into maintenance mode, and then it's all you guys. Okay? Honestly, I can't think of another MMO that's done that, because even Ultima Online still gets them, and those are more sandboxy games, so games that are pretty much theme parks. When content stops, they generally get shut down.
Yeah, sandbox games can almost run by themselves if they're a good sandbox game
Well,
forever.
that's because players make the content.
Yeah.
That's why Ultima Online's still going, because it's player-created content. And, some other games, Dark Age of Camelot's still going with a sub-fee because it's player-created content. Sandbox games generally, but they have very low overhead when it comes to development anyway because of what they are. They're player-made content.
The only problem with those games is they're niche games.
They generally are.
People play them.
They generally are. Everyone wants a sandbox till they realize they don't know what to do when they're there. They get bored and they leave. It takes a very special type of person to like 100% pure sandbox.
Yeah, I don't like sandbox games.
I like theme parks with sandbox elements. Like they're theme parks, but they have little sandboxy things. Like Housing is a perfect sandboxy thing.
If Arcade was my bastion of hope, but unfortunately that game is a pay-to-win, hacker-infested mess.
It probably would be better if it wasn't Korean. I know.
That doesn't even matter.
Oh no, it does.
The point was it was ported from Korea to over here, and Tryon is publishing it, and it's just it wasn't a Western-made sandbox game, so it's just all messed up.
I'm not fine.
It had potential, and then it quickly went downhill.
Yeah, I mean it's just those companies are so greedy. That make a lot of these Korean MMOs. It's crazy.
When it first came out, or when it was in beta, it was good. Like, it was honestly a pretty good, decent game. And then, like, 1 or 2 patches in, they just restructured everything, and it became a pay to win.
Yeah, and Crabby, here's the thing though: pay to play. Like this amazes me. One thing about Final Fantasy 14 real quick is they finally came over to Korea, but they didn't drop their submodel and people just lost their minds. Like you do realize there's no games in Korea that have submodels. They're all free to play.
They're all mobile or free to play games.
Yeah, and that's why it's so pay to win over here, because what do? They develop a game and they try to get a quick cash grab before another game comes out, because they come out with like a new free-to-play MMO every month. It's like, here's another one. You got to get as much money in as you can quickly over there. That's just how their market is, and that's why I hate all of those games. I refuse to play them.
I'll try out any MMO once.
Yeah,
I tried it, but like Crabby said, I love the ships. The ships I loved it. That was great. It reminded me of Ultima Online with the ships. I loved it. I wish other games would have ships.
I mean, the next game coming out that is looking decent to me is called Black Desert Online.
Oh, that's even worse.
And it's not worse. It's graphically, it's probably the best looking MMO I've ever seen. It has the best character creator out of any video game I've ever seen. It's a Korean game, so it has those aesthetics that you'd expect. As far as I know, it's not pay to win at all on the beta right now, on the open beta in Korea. And it's a sandbox game.
It's beta, yeah.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying. And it's a sandbox game, but that's a game I'm keeping my eye on out of curiosity.
Well,
you should
it's
watch
like Terra. When
when
Terra was first coming out in beta, I was really excited for it. It was very pretty. And now they have devolved so far that they're like just selling sex appeal and stupid shit like that.
Yeah, well, Terra was always a game.
But it was like they came out with a new class, Reaper, and I saw its advertisement. I was like, okay, that actually looks pretty cool. I guess I'll go and try it. And I get on, and it's like only the stupid little, like, pedo bunny girls that are half naked can beat them. And I was like,
weirdest race.
I was like, why just the little pedo bunny girls? Why can't I be like a dragon guy and have these weapons or something? And it was like, nope, you have to be a pedo bunny girl. I was like, okay, uninstall.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it went downhill real quick.
Just like that rabbit trail with the little bunny girls. But I get it. Sandboxes can run for pretty much ever because everything's player made. But for the games that are theme parks, how would you want them to? I kind of want to hear everyone's thought. I'm just going to go around and we'll just ask them, like, how do you want your MMO to die? Would you rather them just end it with an expansion and then keep it going, end it with an expansion and then literally shut it off? Or would you rather have EA come in with a giant axe or NCSoft and just kill it? How about Crabby? How about you?
I hate this question because I get so attached to MMOs that I play that I don't like to think about them dying. However, I would like to not see it. No, I mean, okay. So, for example, you played I played Star Wars Galaxies. I didn't play it till it closed. But if you played it till it closed, you knew it was coming because that game had no players, and it was just you knew it was going to come eventually. So, I mean, expecting it in that sense is fine to me. Personally, if I was playing a game and it was going to get shut down, I would rather it just get shut down without me knowing.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather wake up one day and it be like, oh, game's closing tomorrow, sorry. Because I'd rather the pain of it all happen at once than me sitting there for months going, oh, this sucks, what am I going to do, blah, blah, blah. I'd rather just end and be over with.
I echo Crabby, but I'm going to wait to give all my reasons. That's exactly, I would rather them just take an axe to it. Be like, guys, next month, end of the month, it's going down.
Yeah, I mean, like, City of Heroes just closed, from what I remember.
Well, see, there was a little bit of, like, oh, I think I can't remember the whole City of Heroes thing, like, because I know they had, like, a petition. Oh, but they did. It died like that. They gave them, like, 3 months or something like that, and then people started a petition trying to save it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, I mean, then again, you got to look at the company, too. If you're playing an MMO that's being published by NCSoft...
Oh, yeah.
Be wary.
Be wary, Wildstar.
Be WildStar. I be very wary. I'm not WildStar. It's honestly the game itself isn't that bad.
No, but if they don't
However,
pull off this free to play,
oh no, yeah, that game is
NCSoft will
absolutely
axe
screwed. Yeah,
them so fast.
it's you. I mean, it's kind of crappy to say, but I mean, if you're looking to go to an MMO for the long haul, look at who's publishing it first, and try to get an idea. So you might have an idea of the future. I mean, with ESO, what is it? ZeniMax or is it Bethesda that's publishing it?
It's
ZeniMax.
ZeniMax, but ZeniMax is if you know Bethesda, ZeniMax, all those companies are owned by a parent company called ZeniMax Online
Yeah,
or ZeniMax Media that owns everything. Bethesda's actually technically a parent company. ZeniMax Online Studios was a studio that was specifically made for ESO.
yeah. So I mean, like a game like ESO, I wouldn't be too worried just because they don't have a history of doing this.
Yeah.
NCSoft has a history of doing it.
Yeah.
But then again, if you play Guild Wars 2, that game's not going anywhere.
Well, that's
anytime
because
soon.
it makes money. If you look at its quarter, that's the only reason why it's sticking around is because it makes so much money. The second it starts losing money, they're going to go.
It's just like you just got to be careful of whatever company is publishing. I mean, people give EA a lot of crap, but I don't think EA's ever axed an MMO. The only
They've
MMO
axed
they have,
servers.
Well,
multiplayer servers for games that are like 15 years old, yeah. But
I'm not trying to attack them. I'm just being like.
Oh no,
Yeah.
no, yeah. But like for example, SWTOR was doing terrible like 2 years ago. Like way worse than it was before. I mean, it's doing decent now, and they didn't. I mean, they cut the servers down, but they never would have taken it offline. I mean, it's just
right.
Western companies don't really do that as often. So I mean, I don't know, kind of a tangent. But yeah, I'd rather just my MMO just get pulled the plug without me realizing it. That's what I would want.
Brodin.
Whoa.
What about you,
What's your
sir?
own luck? Well, I'm kind of the opposite of that, in all honesty. I'm kind of a mix. Since it's come up with Final Fantasy XI, since I played that for 10 years of my life, I'm going to give my exact feelings on it. Even though I don't actively play it now, and I probably won't be there for the end because I have other things going on, and I don't have time to go back through and do all that stuff. They are going in, like from what I've read, including everything that's been in all of the storylines and tying them all together and giving it an actual conclusion for everything of this world. I prefer that. I prefer an actual conclusion because that game was much more story-based than a lot of MMOs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was very story-driven, just like 14 is. And I enjoy story. That's why I play RPGs. And if, like, it's like if a big game came out, you liked it, and then they're like, yeah, we're going to do a sequel. But since the primary game, like, they planned for a sequel, so they didn't have a conclusion to the story, but the first game didn't do good enough that there'll never be a sequel. You'll never know the end of that story. And that drives me crazy. So, I like what they're doing with 11. They're concluding the story. They're not ending the game either for the people who want to be there. I don't know if I entirely agree with that, but that's their decision. I prefer the conclusion to the story.
Okay. Setsua, how about you, sir?
Well, I'm kind of mixed on it as well. Mostly because the game that I would hate to see close is Dark Age of Camelot, because I literally have played that since its release all the way to 2013. So if it had to die off, which in the back of my mind I know it's going to come soon, I just don't know when, because they only have 3,000 subscribers anyways.
Well, if you got the thing you got to think about though is the company that bought it, Broadsword, was designed just for that. I don't even worry about 3,000 subscribers. Because if you think about it, all that has to happen is their server income, what they get from subscribers, is greater than their server cost.
Oh, then that would be great if it didn't close then. But if it did...
I mean, eventually it probably will, but Ultima Online's still going. And what's funny is Ultima Online is bought by the same Broadsword company. Like, they bought it too because they wanted to keep it going. They're like, we don't care. We'll keep it sub-based game. We have some players to play it. Perfect. We just want to keep it up.
Oh yeah, I loved Ultima Online. That was my first MMO, and that oh man.
Yeah, loved it.
Yeah, I love that game. That's what got me into MMOs. But how I would want Dark Age of Camelot to end is if any Albion people are listening, don't take it the wrong way. I would love to see all of their heads on a pike scattered through the land. I really would. I would paint their castle red with their blood because I
Hibby.
hated them so much. Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah. Hibby all the way, man.
Hibby.
Oh, I would definitely do it. And that's how I would want it to end. And Midgard, they're okay. They're neutral with
They got
me, so-
dwarves.
yeah, they got dwarves, Vikings, trolls. There's nothing wrong with them. But just Albion, I've always hated them. Every time when I played that game, the very first thing I would do is log on and hunt them down mercifully. I would just go all out. So that's how I would want it to end. And then closing credits, Albion's dead, Midgard and Hibernia go their separate ways, and everything's good.
It's oddly specific.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Specifically, it must end
You've put
this way.
You've put a lot of
I
thought into
think
this, I feel.
I really have, because I've hated Albion since I was literally 15. And I'm 28 now. That's how long I do not like them, because they've always been the worst community in Dark Age of Camelot. They deserve everything. Plague, everything. I don't even care.
All right.
Yeah, I really don't.
Before this trails into hate speech, let's go ahead.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I
Like, you know-
echo Crabby.
Well, they're
dead.
characters.
Oh, he's not done. He's not done, apparently.
We gotta move on. We gotta wrap this up. We got a lot to talk about, and we're already an hour into this.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, we got a
Jeez.
lot to talk about.
Do your own podcast full of hate. Call it the hate cast.
Though you can't be hateful at the beginning. You got to go 1 or 2 episodes, because iTunes monitors like the first episode, so you have to wait and ease into hate speech.
Can't
No.
do it.
Do it all at once. Can't do it all at once. Because then they rely on people to report them. But the first one they listen to make sure, oh, okay, this is not hate speech. Okay, great. Episode 2, go pull out. Who cares? Anyway.
Oh, I would.
I do echo Crabby. I would rather just pull it out, because here's what I see. Maintenance mode, like for Final Fantasy, like, especially if it was a game that I love that had no other games on the horizon, kind of like right now. Like, ESO is the only game for me. I'm not even looking forward to anything. I was looking forward to EverQuest Next, but that
you
happened.
keep looking forward to that.
Yeah, keep looking forward to it.
You have fun.
You have fun with that.
I'll tell you how StarCraft Ghost is while you're playing that.
Oh.
You might as well wait for Star Citizen while you're at it.
Oh. Who are you, Derek Smart?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. No, I don't know. It's just, actually, I feel like Star Citizen has way more available than EverQuest.
No, yeah.
I totally just spaced it. I'm sorry. StarCraft Ghost is not the current thing to rag on. You keep waiting for that. I'll tell you how Project Titan is.
Oh, yeah. Project Titan. I don't know. It's one of those things where that's the only game that I was like really looking for, because it's high fantasy, right? There's no other high fantasy ones out there, and I'm like, well, I don't want to go back to anything else. I'm loving the Elder Scrolls right now because I love the lore, but I'm not very happy with a lot of things ZeniMax is doing, and I'm very vocal about that on Tales. But I would, if they were going to end Elder Scrolls Online, because that's the game I'm playing right now, I would rather them just pull the plug, because the game itself already has a hard time maintaining players when there's content droughts, like the year we've waited for consoles to come out and nothing coming in. That's been a pain and a drain on our populace. Because they're like, oh, we're preparing for consoles. Well, whoop-de-doo. What about the rest of the people playing? Nothing.
You don't matter.
We don't matter. We're just beta testing for a year. That's the joke.
Yeah.
Beta tested for
testers
consoles. There you go. Nothing against you console players. That's literally at ZeniMax for all that crap. But for a year, we didn't get anything. Like, nothing. We're finally getting a new patch. But if they were to say, okay, we're going to go maintenance mode, I don't think the game doesn't have enough sandbox elements for people to keep going. I mean, Cyrodiil technically would be, but to be honest, Cyrodiil performance is so bad, I'd rather go back and play Dark Age of Camelot if I really wanted the 3-way fight. You know, like, it really is. It's that bad that it's like, I wouldn't play Cyrodiil just for PvP, or that's the game just for PvP, because it's not that good. And this is coming from a fan of the game. I love the game, but the way it's structured is just not very good.
That's why we don't talk to me about ESO. He's a fan of the game. I'm not.
Yeah. But the world is so great. But see, I couldn't do it because then I'd be sitting there like, even if they're like, okay, we're gonna end it in like a year, but we'll do this big patch. I don't think I'd have the willpower, because I'd be so heartbroken over it, that I'd even want to play, because I get so attached to my characters. I always feel like I waste time when I play single player games because my MMO characters will last forever, right? So knowing that it has a death, it's kind of... I told Thais about this. I said to her, think about it like this. If a fortune teller came up to you and said, I could tell you the exact day of your death, I wouldn't want to know. Like, I wouldn't want to know. And the reason behind that is because no matter what, for the rest of... even if it's 100 years, the rest of your life will be sitting there counting down to that final day. Whereas if you...
I don't know. I feel if it was 100 years out, I'd be okay.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's one of those... It's 100 years, not just there, but
I'd be like, can we end it a little sooner? Maybe, take away 20 years, maybe.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that you would always be counting down to it. You would never live life to the fullest, because all you'd be doing, you'd have that sword of Damocles above your head just waiting to fall. But the thing is, you know when it'll fall. So do you live through it? No, you sit there and go... you sit there and doom and gloom, depression will take over going, man, I'm going to die in 95 years. Well, yeah, but... I wouldn't like that. I just wouldn't. I would rather just shut it down, because that's what it is. And when a game goes into maintenance mode, that's even worse, because it's kind of like a hospice. Because think about it. Even if your community goes, we don't care, we love this game, we're going to keep playing. World of Warcraft, I had my 10-man raiding team that we had fun. They were great. They were all my buddies. But as they started getting jobs or whatever the case may be, and they didn't have time, they left. Well, what did we do? We found new people to pick up. But in a game that's in maintenance mode, no new players are going to come in and pick up a game in maintenance mode. You know, except for someone who's, oh, there's no new content, and they'll leave. So your community only ever falls away. And it's so hard to replace people, especially in theme park MMOs where you need X amount of players to complete content. Your community would eventually fade away. And then the game that you love, like the Vanadelian people over there, even if they want to sit in there and play, eventually you're going to have a hard time finding groups to do stuff. At first, your community might still be around, but as the months drag on, they'll eventually leave. And then how are you going to replace them when there's no new players? That's my issue. I'm really kind of curious to see what our fans would say. Please let us know how you would like to see your MMO die. It's a dark subject. No one wants to think about it, but I'm really curious. It's had me thinking. All right. It's time for us to move on to our next little bit of news. And if you listen to our last podcast, you'll notice the logo in the center of the screen right now. You might be knowing what we're following up with. This is a follow-up to episode 3 and the John Smedley everything that went on with his hacking, going against the hackers and everything like that. Well, this is coming to us as I open up the link, because I should have had it open already. This is coming to us from Massively OP way back on June 22nd. VentureBeat reported that John Smedley has stepped down as president of Daybreak Games. A Daybreak rep told VentureBeat, that's the company that got this, I can confirm that John Smedley will be taking some time off from the company for the near term and transitioning into a different role to be determined. Upon finalization of his plans, further communication will be provided. They have an interim president, I guess, who's stepping up now, but it looks like John Smedley, after 20 years, is no longer steering the ship.
Yeah. So about that...
Thank God.
About that, EverQuest Next. Yeah,
about that anything. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah. It was a blight on top of the MMO genre. I could not stand that guy.
What's really
I think it's a good thing.
A lot of people said that. But the thing is, it was mixture. The community saw him as just a complete jerk. And I'm not saying John Smedley is. All right, so if by some odd chance, John Smedley, you're listening to this, I honestly don't think you're a jerk. I was actually kind of rooting on when you made the cheaters have to send a video in apologizing for H1Z1 hacks. I thought that was hilarious, and I'm a fan of capital punishment. I think we should bring the guillotine back in the United States and do public executions, but that's me. I'm not going to get into politics, though. I didn't find him that bad. I think he was a person who, after being attacked, lashed out on his personal Twitter. But the problem is, as most CEOs will know, and when you're a CEO of a company, you represent the company no matter what. And so while a lot of people saw him as kind of little, I don't know, too forward, whatever, a lot of actual developers stood up and said that this is a sad day for MMO gaming because he was a very good person to work for. He was very driven. He would work hard with other, like, if you wanted to be something in games, he was there to help you. Like, that was something he wanted to do. This was his passion, gaming and everything like that. And he gave a lot of people, Mark Jacobs from City State Entertainment, I'm trying to think of another one. The guy from Tryon. There were like a bunch of different developers who were like, we're sad to see him go because he was a juggernaut. The developers knew him as a great guy because that's what he was. He was passionate and driven, and that was something that he was going to do. So I'm sad to see it go because this is sad for the MMO industry in and of itself that somebody has to step down.
I mean, it's an end of an era, but at the same time, the end of an era can always be a better beginning, so to speak. Like, I'm going to use this as an example, and I'm sorry if it's, too soon, but this is my opinion on it. Iwata from Nintendo passing on.
Right.
That was terrible. He was a great guy, and I loved him. But at the same time, if Miyamoto does take over, I think it's the best thing that can happen to Nintendo. Like, as a company. Because Miyamoto has been there forever. He's been in the background for a very long time. But if he actually steps up and, takes charge of it, I think he can lead the company in a better direction than Iwata. I'm sure I might get some hate mail out of that statement, but that's how I feel. It's kind of the same situation, Sometimes the person, even though they bring in, start a whole bunch of new stuff.
Steve Jobs did the same thing with Apple when the other guy stepped up. He's been doing wonderful.
I mean, that's the kind of idea. Is like, you get these people who come up with something brilliant and it's great. The issue is that they have their own mentality. They are stuck in what they have come up with.
It's almost like a god complex. Like, I created this, no one else can do better.
I wouldn't say that's what they were suffering from. That is a good example, but I don't know them personally, so I can't say that's what they were doing. But it's one of those situations where it's like, it's good to get fresh ideas, a different point of view, a new, person coming in having new ideas is sometimes the best thing that can happen to a company.
It's kind of like an old person set in their ways. Like, back in my day, but the thing is, when you created the company, it's your way or the highway. Like, you might have had an idea, and it's successful. So you kind of get a little bit of an ego boost from that going, it was successful before, it'll still be successful.
Exactly. So I think, in all honesty, him stepping down, this new guy coming up, or whoever they get to fully, permanently replace him if the new guy isn't the one, you might get your EverQuest next. Like, it might actually happen. A whole bunch of stuff might actually come to fruition with better, newer ideas. It could be taking the ideas that he came up with, started, that, helped shape the genre as it is, and, inspired so many other people to do what they're doing now, added with new ideas that the company thinks this new person can do or add to, can be the best thing that can happen to the company. So from a business standpoint, I think it's great. I didn't know the guy personally. I can't say anything about that in all fairness. So I feel as a company or for the company in all of these situations, it's the best thing that can happen. Unless they make a mistake, and then obviously it can quickly turn into the worst thing that has ever happened. But overall, I think it's usually a positive experience.
I know we're such a small podcast, but I would love to get John Smedley on here to talk to him. I really would. I really would.
See, what's funny is I think this is a negative thing. I think this is a negative thing for to happen. Given all the criticism John Smedley has gotten and, what he's done for MMOs, blah, 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 you got to remember, SOE was bought out by a random company. Not a
An
random
investment
company.
firm.
An investment
Columbus
firm.
Nova, yeah.
And they quickly started hacking off people in prominent positions that most likely got paid very high.
Yeah,
Why would they
Jorgensen
do
was
that?
one.
Yeah, why would they do that? Because they don't want to pay these people that much money.
Yeah, they're trying to get a return on their investment. That's
exactly.
what they do.
So, to me, John Smedley was probably the highest paid person in Daybreak. So to me, they're cutting all the high paid people, and they're just going to let what's going on right now go on. I don't know if we're going to see anything future, like any future big projects.
Can I piggyback off of you real quick, Crabby? Because I got a question for you. Because you brought up something really good. They were bought by an investment firm. So the investment firm owns the majority of their company. So they have a lot of say. Do you think the negative feedback that John Smedley has gotten because of all this, do you think he was pressured to step down by Columbus Nova? Because they're obviously looking at it to make a profit. And a Spitfire on the payroll as the CEO, do you think they were like, listen, dude, you're just too crazy and you are unstable and you're making this a very risky thing. We want you to step down as CEO.
I don't think they gave a crap about that personally. I think he made too much money.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Well, didn't say he was quitting. He just was moving. He was probably moved to a different position too. He could become like a game producer instead.
Yeah, but you think he's going to be making the same amount of money as a CEO of a company is going to be making if he's a producer?
The thing is, though, when a CEO, would you want to take a pay cut? Or would you rather just say, screw you guys, I'm a CEO of SOE for 20 years. I'll go find another place.
He could be passionate.
Amazon is hiring.
Okay, but then again, never in the history of gaming have you ever had... Like, you don't know the truth. We don't know the truth of what's going on. We never will. We're never going to know why he's actually stepping down. People have said they've stepped down, and then months later it'll be like, rumors come out saying, oh, they were fired or they did this and whatever. I don't know. I think he made too much money, and they wanted to get somebody who wouldn't want as much money.
I know a lot of places who do that as a professional courtesy for people who've been at places for a long time. When new regimes come in, they say, you're no longer going to stay here. We're going to give you the option to retire early. And that's what we'll say happened. I've seen that happen a few times where it's like, they're like, oh yeah, I'm retiring. Back at my old job, there was a guy I was working with, and he, this was at actually, and he was really high up, and I was working on a project with him, and it was a big project, and week to week to week we were working on this, and one week I said, okay, let's schedule a meeting for next week, and he goes, oh, yeah, I'm retiring next week. You don't retire like that. Retirement's something you look forward to for years and like, oh, I'm like 2 years from retirement. Not where no one said anything and all of a sudden next week, oh, I'm retiring. It's because he was pushed out and they offered him a severance if he said he retired, right? Maybe.
I think this is a sign of we're not going to see anything big come from Daybreak. I think EverQuest Next is probably not going to happen. Landmark is probably going to slowly get updates, and God knows what's going to happen with that.
No, they shifted.
H1Z1's doing fine.
H1Z1 I think is going to be their cash ship, and that's all they have.
Yeah, most likely.
Yep.
I think this company is just going to be, just another, like, nothing special anymore.
All right. Setsua, do you have anything you'd want to mention on this real quick before we move on?
No, not really. I mean, it is. I guess it would be an end to an era, and I'm kind of glad he's going because it just. I don't know. I just don't really like a lot of the decisions that he's made. I don't know him as a person, but a lot of the MMO decisions that he has made and basically let Vanguard Saga of Heroes just go on life support. Ooh. And and pretty much allowed Star Wars Galaxies to Die is just two of the reasons why I do not like him. Well, his business type. As a person, I don't know him, so I can't say. But that's all I'd have to say on it. Pretty much is I'm glad he's kind of going, and I wish him the best, basically, in the future.
Nice. I'd love to see him transition into like a game producer or something for like EverQuest Next, so it gets some progress.
EverQuest Next supposed to be on the consoles as well, so I was kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah, not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah. Oh God, no, not anymore.
All right. Well, that was Daybreak and John Smedley. End of an era. We wish you good luck, sir. And hey, if you ever feel like coming on a small podcast, I'd love to talk to you. I really would. Anyway,
You might have to send him the podcast.
I know I'm going to send him the link.
I don't think he peruses the internet looking
Just
for small podcasts.
peruses the random internets to see if his name pops up anywhere. I don't know, maybe.
Did someone badmouth me?
All right. Next up, Gamescom happened this year.
Yeah, it did.
Now, there's one thing, obviously, we're going to talk about later that we're going to skip. So, Setsua, what about Gamescom? I know you were saying you were looking at several parts. Do you find anything of interest?
I mostly looked at Gamescom. This is my first time actually viewing it. I mostly looked at it from the Final Fantasy stuff, which I loved the Final Fantasy 15 trailer. Though they were getting a lot of smack for it, and that's just because they didn't really look at what it was supposed to mean. They were just hoping for a bunch of combat. But it explained a lot more of the story. But other than that, Xbox, or Microsoft rather, they had a pretty decent time. They didn't really talk too much about the Xbox, or talking more about PC actually, and how they're kind of connected to a little bit more. And EA had a decent one. People were kind of mad at Star Wars The Old Republic because it just looks horrible now. And a lot of people are starting to see that, which I saw that when it first came out. That's why I didn't play it. How bad it is. Other than that, there's not too many news that I saw that I looked forward to as much, besides the Final Fantasy and the Microsoft one. It looks like Microsoft is trying to redeem themselves, which they have a long road ahead of them for the gaming community. So good luck on that one, Microsoft.
Nice. Brodin, did you see anything of note that you were interested in?
Well, I watched all of Gamescom, not just focused on the Final Fantasy one. So, as far I know we'll talk about the big, reveal Blizzard did later, but the other ones that they had was they announced some characters for Heroes of the Storm that I was looking forward to, because I personally play all of the MOBAs and everything as well. So they announced a few characters that I was excited for. The one that caught me off guard was that they are doing Artanis from StarCraft 2 as a warrior. I mean, unless you play the game, that doesn't mean a whole lot. But it was funny because a lot of people were like, we want Phoenix, where's Phoenix? And a lot of people had an outcry, and they actually came out and said, it's like, we were going to do Phoenix, but he has a unique resurrection mechanic that Leoric the Skeleton King uses, so we didn't want to release him so close to Leoric.
Right.
So we'll talk about him again in 6 months. And a lot of people have been speculating on that now, because Phoenix in the story of StarCraft 1 was a zealot, which was a warrior. Died in the story and came back to life as a Dragoon, which is a mobile tank. So a lot of people are talking maybe his passive or something is dies, and then you revive as a Dragoon or something and have X amount of seconds and can do whatever. Other than that, there was no real news for Diablo on Blizzard side. It was more of just Heroes of the Storm and World of Warcraft, and we'll get to that later.
Yeah,
I was looking for Diablo news so much. I love Diablo.
I was too, in all honesty. I was also looking forward to maybe some Overwatch news, but there wasn't any. They added Overwatch to all of our game clients.
I saw that.
I saw it, and I was like, no, I just get to the album.
Everybody, it's everybody got a heart attack when that happened. They're like, I got in, and it's like, where's the play? Where's play? They're like, no, we're just adding it. It's like, you teases. But no, I mean, there was nothing for Overwatch, which was a real bummer for me, because I was really looking for some more information. Speaking of games like that, I'm kind of getting off track now, but Battleborn had another information. They announced like 4 more characters, which is exciting.
I will say I saw the trailer for Battleborn, and the gameplay itself, like for a quick game, their gameplay trailer looked hilarious.
Well, I mean, it's the Borderlands team, so I mean, it's
it
probably going to
looked
be a
hilarious
game.
and actually looked like a lot of fun. Kind of reminded me old Unreal Tournament or something.
Oh yeah, and like 25 unique characters and a whole bunch of other cool stuff. So I'm more than happy to get that and play that. I mean, as far as Gamescom, though, like there was not that many huge reveals. In all honesty,
Yeah.
I mean, there was like some talk about like Call of Duty and stuff like that, but who cares? So I mean, there was a good announcements for Heroes of the Storm. You'll like this one. It was one of the things that I was excited just as a old World of Warcraft player. Uther is getting a Paladin Judgment skin of the like in-game Judgment raid set.
Really?
Yeah, and it looks just like it did in World of Warcraft. So I thought, I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
And then they, like, I think it was today or yesterday, it was very recent, they announced one more character for Heroes of the Storm, and that was the medic from StarCraft. Like, just the Terran medic.
Terran medic, there he is.
How
Terran medic.
heroic.
But her heroic looks pretty cool because she, like, summons the medevac, the transport ship, and can move her and an ally wherever they want to on the map in a very, very quick manner. So should add a whole lot of chaos. And I mean, we're gonna get the Diablo monk here real soon. They said look at for him as soon as Monday, so that could be right there on Monday. And he looks really unique. And that's something I have to give Heroes of the Storm. All of their characters are different,
Right.
and I like I play League of Legends. I love League of Legends. Don't get me wrong here, but Heroes of the Storm, like each character does play completely different. And he's a support, but you like pick at the beginning of the game one of 3 talents that chooses what kind of support you are. You could be like a healing support, like CC damage support, a tanky support, and you get to just choose that at the beginning of each match, so you can kind of do whichever works better for your team, what your team is lacking or whatever. So that's cool. I actually really like that. That's a good idea. Especially if you played monks in Diablo, because they were kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of cool Heroes of the Storm news. Disappointingly, none about Overwatch, which is sad. And then the big one we'll get to. But I mean, other than that, I think, in all honesty, when it comes to Gamescom, the big, anything was Blizzard.
Blizzard stole the show. I think everyone else was like, because we knew about their announcement, because they said they were going to do it. They were going to announce the World of Warcraft expansion at Gamescom. And I think every other company was like, screw it. We'll wait.
Well, I mean, like, I loved the information and everything we got about Final Fantasy 15 because I've been looking forward to that game since it was Versus 13.
Yeah.
50 million years ago. So I love the extra trailer. I've been loving the demo. I've been loving, like, the hands-on stuff they've kindly been giving us for that. In all honesty, I was more excited for that than the World of Warcraft expansion, but that's completely different reasons because it's like a console sit-down, straight storyline versus an MMO, and they're just different beasts altogether.
Right.
It's kind of like trying to compare Witcher 3 to any MMO. It's just like that's not fair.
Yeah. Yeah. If
So,
if an MMO had the same graphics and the same style as Witcher 3, no computer could handle it.
That's what I mean too. It's like, you can always make something much prettier when it's on console. Even though Square Enix does a good job with their MMOs,
Or if
because
it's a single player that's only on one PC, yeah, you can do a lot.
Yeah.
You're not.
I mean, like, if you think about it though, even though like if you look at Final Fantasy 11 now, you're like, good God, this game is ugly. It's like, yeah, that kinda. I mean, until recently, this still had better graphics than World of Warcraft.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it was
did.
beautiful. It was beautiful for its time. Like when it first came out, everybody was like, "Oh my God, that's an MMO."
Yeah.
And then when 14 came out, they did it again. Everyone was like, "Really? This is an MMO? This is like super high graphics though." So Square Enix continues to always lead the world in graphics, in my opinion, because like especially their console games. Because if you look at like Final Fantasy X on the PS2 with its like pre-rendered cutscenes, you're just like, wow.
Final Fantasy VIII stressed the original PlayStation to the point where it almost crashed just during the opening video.
Yeah. So I mean, Square Enix has always had like a lead on most other companies when it comes to graphics. and they continue to do so. And so, I mean, as far as Gamescom go, I was very happy for the information on the 15 and all the other title there. Final Fantasy 14 had some cool stuff going on there too. They actually did their battle arena again,
Okay.
which they've done at like E3 and everything else.
Yeah,
and
yeah, where they gave like the T-shirts and stuff.
the T-shirts, there was a Bismarck and a Ravana T-shirt. So if you were lucky enough to be there, some love for the EU servers, finally the EU players, because they've been in America, they've been in California, they've obviously constantly in Japan.
Did they give away like what they? I know way before they gave like earrings and stuff, like little like glamour earrings. If so many people beat stuff, did they do that again for servers or didn't they?
I didn't hear anything on that one this time, but I know they were giving away the T-shirts of like "I survived Ravana," "I survived Bismarck," and then they Yoshi P, the producer of the game, was actually running around a bunch of EU servers during Gamescom, talking to the players and saying what was up, saying how they were liking it. And he dropped a bit of information for us, saying like in the soon, like coming months, we'll get a whole slew of information for 3.1, the first major patch after Heaven's Ward, where they'll probably do a lot of heavy job adjustments that need to be done.
Right.
They're going to add new content.
Like Mechanist might actually be a full class.
Machinist definitely. Machinist is caught up from where it was when it came out, in all honesty, and that's saying a lot, and that's really bad. Because they gave it a flat 10% damage increase, and now
I feel like they did that for Dragoons at one point too, where they're just like, yeah, here you go. Way back when.
Well, yeah, they did actually. They buffed Dragoons way back when, but I mean, Dragoons are top DPS now.
Oh yeah.
Like that's not a question anymore. That they just are the top DPS right now. But this expansion pack was heavily focused on Dragoons, where they came from, and their
it's
entire.
It's kind of like Wrath of the Lich King with the Death Knights. It's like they're just overpowered.
But we'll get to World of Warcraft in a bit. But as far as Gamescom goes, so I mean, 14 was there. Yoshi P wasn't on Gamescom servers, like he wasn't there. He was just running around on Ragnarok, which is an EU server.
Yeah.
Talking to the players, saying what was up. A lot of people were there. He had a unique pet that wasn't in the game yet with him. It was a plushie of Carbuncle.
That's kind of like you did the same thing with the Bluebird.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I got a Bluebird right here.
Where'd you get that?
Yoshi. You never know.
Exactly, and I love Yoshi P because he's like, as the producer of the game, he gets on, he does random crap, he plays with his fans, he talks to them, he jumps servers, he does all that stuff. You can't say the same thing as like any other lead producer of an MMO.
True.
Yeah, he is a great example of like just an awesome corporate person.
I have a lot of respect for Yoshi P.
He's super charismatic.
Same here, yeah.
And one of the best things, like one of the best stories from him, and this kind of deals with like Gamescom because it was like a news reveal like thing like that.
I wish I would have known you were going to talk about Yoshi P. I would have had a Yoshi icon for the center of the screen. Just
sorry,
Yoshi.
He constantly gets in trouble with his dev team, and it entertains me.
Oh yeah, because he keeps showing stuff.
He was like, all right, I'm going to show you this, and like holds up a picture, and his dev team is like, we're not supposed to talk about that. And he leans over, they whisper that to him, and he goes back. He's like, apparently I'm not supposed to talk about it, but I brought pictures, so I'm going to talk about it.
I'm going to do it anyway.
Well, he's the producer. He can be like, yeah, whatever.
He's literally just like, screw you guys. I'm doing what I want.
I know, but like, think about it though. You can't name another like main head producer like Chris Menson doesn't run around on World of Warcraft talking to people. And I'm not knocking it against him. It's just Yoshi P's that very charismatic.
Yeah.
Loves to deal with people. He does letter from the producers every month, which is a lot of work. He actually
they used to do that for ESO, and I'm sad they don't do that. The road ahead, they used to do that like every month. They
haven't stopped since 2.0.
I know
he's been doing it for like several years now, and they're still going. He has no plans on stopping. He loves answering questions, talking to his fans. So
yeah,
I mean, Yoshi P saved that game. There's no doubt about it. He's exactly
saved Square Enix. Like they were in the red. Final Fantasy 14 brought them out.
Yes, to a degree, but Square Enix as a whole has been getting better since they started their council.
Oh yeah, they have. But they were not doing well, and Final Fantasy 14 A Realm Reborn pretty much like brought them back.
Yes, but at the same time, Final Fantasy 14 1.0 kind of put them there.
This is true.
So
They cleaned up their own. Well, but Yoshi P wasn't part of that. He took over.
no, he wasn't. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying
Yeah.
he's helped saved it. I'm just saying like he saved the game that put them in the red to begin with.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But like every major company's on the red for the most part nowadays. Just because they're in the red doesn't mean they're going to go anywhere.
I remember a story someone told me of Yoshi P, which I thought was hilarious. He was at some convention, and this was a podcaster talking about it, and he was talking with Yoshi P, and he was flipping through some papers, and the guy's like, "Whoa, wait, what was that?" And Yoshi P's like, "Oh, you can't see that yet." And but then he's like, "Wait, do you read Japanese?" Because the whole thing was in Japanese. It just had a bunch of images. He's like, "No, I don't read Japanese." He's like, "Oh, here you go. Look at it." And it's like, you're just teasing me now because I can't tell what any of the words are. Like, what this means, it just looks cool and I want to know more. But he's like, I'm not going to tell you more, but here, you can look at it. Oh, you don't read Japanese? Oh, that sucks.
That's awesome. That is so awesome.
That is
Taunting
funny.
the guy because he came on the podcast. He's like, he totally taunted me because he let me look over the entire document, which was like confidential, but I can't read Japanese, so I had no idea what it was. It had all these graphs and images that looked amazing, but I had no idea what anything meant because I can't read Japanese. So, because he asked me, can you read Japanese? No, I can't. Oh, well, here you go. Look away.
So, I mean, yeah, Gamescom, though, that's about it. Like, they did their battle arena. They handed out the I Survived Bismarck, I Survived Ravana for the people who were fortunate enough to be there and do it. He ran around on the EU servers, which is good because, you know, they don't get enough love.
True.
Other than that, that's all I really paid. I mean, that was super long, but that's all I really paid attention to. I mean, other than the thing we're going to get to later.
Yeah. Crabby, do you have anything? I'm done. Like, I didn't watch much other than the Blizzard presentation.
You know, I haven't been watching Gamescom specifically. I've only been keeping up with Twitter because I follow a ton of companies on Twitter.
Yeah.
I've always been a PC gamer, and I love strategy games, smaller games that I'll play for 100 hours. One company I love is Paradox Interactive. They make games like, I don't know if anyone's ever played Crusader Kings or the Europa Universalis series. They announced a game called Stellaris, which is basically Crusader Kings, but in space. Different planets, you can be different races and stuff. I'm kind of hyped for that.
That looked pretty cool.
Yeah. I play a lot of City Skylines, which Paradox published, and they announced an expansion for that where they're adding like a day and night cycle to that game. That game's an amazing city builder game. And the only other thing that caught my eye was, has anybody played Mountain Blade?
Yeah.
Mountain Blade is like the best sandbox-ish army fighting third-person game. Medieval game. It's amazing. They announced Mountain Blade 2 finally, and I'm super hyped for that because the mods that are going to come out for that are going to be amazing, like Napoleon Wars and stuff like that. But yeah, I've only really been hyped about the smaller games. Nothing crazy for me. So
okay,
that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, we're gonna move off of Gamescom. We're gonna move on to our next little bit. World of Warcraft. Q2 earnings are in. Crabby.
5.6 million subscribers, down from 7. What?
I was gonna say counting gold farmers.
Counting gold farmers.
Well, I'm not saying this is a good thing. I'm saying they've.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's counting gold farmers.
Think about it. In November, they were at 10.3 million. I want to say.
Yeah.
And
they're one of their highest jumps. Not their highest they ever were. They were highest in near.
It was
ICC
one of the highest. It was one of the highest jumps in a short period of time for them. Yeah. And then 8 months later, they had the lowest jump in the shortest period of time.
They're down to like beginning of end of BC numbers.
10.
This 5.6 is the lowest they've been since the
late vanilla.
Second. Yeah, since vanilla.
Pretty much late vanilla, which is insanity. I can't. It's funny. I mean, every MMO, sinks and
Fluctuates.
subs, but you never think it's going to happen to Warcraft.
But you also
Which is
got to remember,
insane.
Warcraft also has the biggest pool to sink in from. And people like me, for instance, keep going back to finish like one thing, but then unsub for months at a time.
Yeah,
After
no,
I get my ring, I'm going to unsub again until the next expansion. And then somewhere probably near the middle, I'll come back in.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I mean, however, you can't deny the fact that this is the biggest drop in subscribers in the shortest amount of time. I mean, how many of those people are me and you?
I honestly feel
10 million of them?
Yeah.
I mean,
I honestly feel a lot of this is due to this started. We could say it started earlier, but I'm gonna say the bad trend started Mist of Pandaria because they had a big
Cataclysm.
I would say Cataclysm.
Hold on,
When Activision took over.
When Activision took over.
Well, Activision took over in Wrath.
They took over in
Sorry,
Wrath,
got it
but
now.
Cataclysm was the first time that they really... I'm sorry to cut you off. Cataclysm was the first time they were
Yeah,
really involved
okay,
with
yeah.
Yeah, but I have a reason behind this. When they came in, they started. Pandaria also had the longest period without a patch. Over a year of raiding Siege of Orgrimmar. Over a year. They slowly got worse and worse. But Pandaria had the longest gap. And that's when a lot of people left. Because it's like, why do we want to raid Siege of Orgrimmar? Because they got the Siege of Orgrimmar, what was that? Came out in November, a year after the thing came out, and they're like, oh, everything's out. And BlizzCon hasn't happened yet. No one's announced the new expansion. We have no idea. And they're like, yeah, we're not doing anything else. Over a year of rating the same content. It's kind of like the same thing ESO is going through right now. A year with, they're not even, I think they're not even, there'll be a year here, but it's a very long period of time without any new content. Actually, it might be over that now. I got to think about this. My days are off.
Yeah, and I mean, in all honesty, I'm not trying to plug my game here. That's one of the reasons I enjoy Final Fantasy XIV. It's like every couple of months they have a huge patch that adds new dungeons, new raids, new content, more story.
I'm going to say this
just for free.
Final Fantasy XIV, I hope they keep with that. But World of Warcraft sort of did that too in the beginning. How quick expansions came since BC, the patches came out, Wrath came out.
Well, they've always been kind of
they've been getting fast. They were getting faster, and then they started slowing up around Cataclysm, but then they had more in there afterwards. I hope Final Fantasy can keep up with it, because that's great. But
they haven't had any signs of slowing down, and like I said, with someone like Yoshi P in charge, I'm not really worried.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there was a lot of I think there was more missteps in Cataclysm than Pandaria.
I feel too.
Pandaria didn't mess up until the end.
Yeah, most of Pandaria was. I mean, okay, so the initial Pandaria, you go pandas.
Yeah, that was the initial reaction of everyone.
But once you actually got into that expansion, there was a lot to do. There was a lot of content in Pandaria. And, vice versa, at Cataclysm, you go into that, you spend 2 hours on a 5-man dungeon that you're just wiping on the first boss constantly. And it's like, well, yeah, this was fun in vanilla, but we're just getting off of Wrath where we could do a dungeon in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't really want to do this. And this Cataclysm was just kind of a mess. I don't know. I didn't like...
Especially because they restructured everything at the same time. They redid their honor. They redid their honor system, their talent system. They redid everything. All at once.
I understand why they did the talent system revamp, where it was like, well, everyone was choosing the same talents anyway. But at the same time...
the same talents now.
Yeah, they do.
I know. But at the same time, I'm saying that I appreciated the old talent system because... it gave me the illusion of having
the
choice.
Illusion of choice, yeah.
So I would much rather have the illusion of choice than having no choice.
This is true. We'll always find what the best is, but it's nice to... that's the same way in ESO. There's 90 million skills. There's only about 10 of them that are useful. But
Yeah.
there's the illusion that I could pick everything.
Right. I mean, that's I don't know. I think 5.6 million. That is low.
I will tell you my personal thoughts on what killed, or why so many people dropped off. Warlords of Draenor. And the reason why, well, I don't think Warlords of Draenor was a bad expansion. You know what was the problem with it? There was no staying power.
There was nothing to do.
Yeah,
if you weren't,
everything was garrison.
And if you weren't a raider, there was nothing to do.
Well, and even if you, well, yeah, there wasn't nothing like. But even if you were a small group, you know what kept people logging in through all the years, having to, and what Final Fantasy does, having to cap esoterics, having to cap your things. They remove that in Warlords. There's no reason to do dungeons.
Yeah, like there was no valor points,
No.
so no reason
I
to
would
do
log in
dungeons.
and do dungeons with my buddies, like my guild, just because I got cap my things.
There was no easy, like for example in Cataclysm, they did a really smart way to grind reputation with those tabards. You put on a tabard, you can do any dungeon, get rep with that.
Yep.
No rep grinding. I mean, don't get me wrong, grinding and dailies, they're not particularly fun, but it's busy work that keeps you in the game,
And
that
keeping
gives
you
you
in
a goal
the game
and there
builds
was
your
no-
community, which makes
there
you
was
want to
none
stay
of-
around in MMOs in the first place.
I mean,
Oh.
people crapped on Pandaria for
But
the
that's exactly
so many dailies they had.
Yeah.
However, I logged in every day to do them because I wanted to. I was like, another week of this and I'll be exalted. Sweet.
Yeah.
Like.
Yep. No, and
Hey, I mean, 14's still doing it. That's the main reason. Like after work, I make sure I get on and at least do my daily roulettes, even if it's like I don't really want to play today. It's like, well, I'm going to do my dailies anyway.
and then your friends are on there and go, "Hey, we're thinking about doing this," and you're like, "You know what? I'll go with," and that builds a community. Warlords of Draenor killed community because they removed the reason for logging in every day, gave you garrisons, which were a crappy form of housing. It's not housing that's a sandbox. It's a central hub that you're alone in. You log in and play your Facebook World of Warcraft games, and then you're done, right? It killed community. You logged in, you felt alone. I'm like, I guess you could do that in housing in Final Fantasy. You could feel alone if you never left your house. But you can invite people over, etc.
I mean,
you could do the same thing there, but it wasn't the same
Well,
thing.
even then, like with your house, like they did something a lot more intelligent, in my opinion, is that you can have a personal house, whatever, but you can have a free company house, a guild house. So you're hanging out at the house, your friends, you're there, your free company's there, everybody's just hanging out at the free company house. It's in the garrisons. It's like, this is my garrison. I have to invite you to my party for you to even possibly be here.
And
if they had, like, imagine how it would have gone if they had a guild garrison, like a big garrison where your guild can work together, build structures up, make it just like massive, much bigger than the, your personal garrison, and be able to do like guild content, like party content through that. It would have kept the community, it would have kept people coming on and doing stuff with their friends a lot better. But instead, as it is, it's like I log on WoW once a week. I send my followers to go do missions, and I do LFR, and then I don't log in until next week.
That's what I do. Yeah, but you're
there,
saying
there was so many missteps. Like
the missteps with the whole thing. You said with Final Fantasy, the best part about the housing is the fact the what they did so good in that is yes, there were reasons to hang out the house, but none of it was things that can make you skip content, like getting gear. Like or anything it was solo activities, very solo. Like
they did something. I'm sorry. This is actually really cool. Since you weren't, I don't know how long you played. All of the
coil. So
after all of the, even including coils now, since they added housing afterwards. If you do all of that content, you could get furniture out of it.
Oh yeah, I thought that was great.
Like there's a Leviathan fountain, there's a Odin head statue, and all this other kind of stuff. So if you go as a free company and farm this stuff to guarantee yourselves the drop, because they're expensive. You add it to the free company, like my mansion on the free company. We have the Shiva chandelier, the Ramu light lantern, the Titan pillar, all of the primal stuff.
The
it's
King
just
Moogle
cool.
Mog couch with the awesome flowing beard.
No, we went with the mailbox because it makes music when you have mail.
Nice.
Yeah. But we have all these things, and it's stuff that you work towards and earn as a group.
It's
aesthetic. It doesn't actually have any purpose, but you're doing content to get it.
And even the new airship system.
So, I
You
mean,
do it as a guild. You have a reason to group with people, which builds community. Warcraft's garrisons were not as good as personal housing because it wasn't aesthetic. You could get stuff. There was no reason to leave. That's what killed, and I think that's what so many people dropped off. And
one of the things that burned me the most about Warlords was the amount of cut content from the BlizzCon previous to the launch of it.
Oh, you talking about
They
cut
said-
content? We're still waiting
they
on the
said-
dance studio.
That's the long running joke from Rathos, the dance studio and
Yeah.
aerial combat. However, so with the BlizzCon of Warlords, Tanan Jungle.
Blizzard, we're gonna offer aerial combat in Warlords. Oh, but you can't fly, so good luck.
Yeah. But with Tenda, like for example with Warlords, like they said, oh, Tanan Jungle is going to be a zone. Months later, they said, oh, it might make it in the expansion as a post like launch zone, which it
Hey,
did.
it's in the game now.
However,
yeah.
yeah, no. I mean, it did make it in the game, but do you really want to hear, oh, this big zone might be in the game?
Well,
And
no,
now,
I think the bigger burn on content that no one knows why they did for Warlords was the cut of a hub city. Like they had one plan. They showed it off, and then they got rid of it.
They had one major hub city. They're like, no, we're gonna not do that. They also completely cut Farallon zone, which was Netherstorm, from the game. That zone is just not coming. Wasn't there.
That said, because of the hub city and how many people were pissed about it, I think they learned their lessons because one of the first things they announced, we'll see if they keep it, was that Dalaran was returning as a hub city. It's like, yeah it better,
And
or we're gonna.
Garrisons were originally there was originally going to be 3 locations for garrisons, and you could choose where you wanted to place your garrison, and you could change the building types as well. Neither of that stuff.
I think I would have liked my garrison more if I could make it look more Blood Elf looking rather
if I
than
can
being
more
the default.
Personal. Like that's the other thing that really rubbed me the wrong way when it comes to garrisons as well, is that like if you were able to like personalize them instead of like, hey, you're Alliance, so you have a Night Elf garrison, or hey, you're Horde, so you have an Orc garrison. It's like, okay, or not Night Elf, but human garrison. It's like if you could go in and actually personalize them, make them actually yours, like they were talking about being able to do. That would have been great, but instead they just was like, no, you're gonna be able to just choose what is in your garrison,
what buildings,
not the looks. And it's just like that's not personalizing. That's just what tradecraft do I not want to care about, and just set it there. Oh, that's right. I'm just gonna set an enchantment there because that's all that matters. Oh, what enchantment's useless now? Well, whatever.
They destroyed professions.
Oh yeah, that too.
They destroyed professions, and like there's so many like. I mean, I'm not trying to nitpick about the cut content stuff.
Well,
I'm
they
just
lost
using
5
that
million
as
subscribers. There's a reason why we're nitpicking.
But no, I mean like with cut content, I'm saying as a whole, cutting content is just not a good idea. The amount of cut content from this expansion was staggering.
Ridiculous. Like,
I mean, World Bosses.
The Hub City made it in. The Hub City, which has been in every other expansion, didn't even make it in.
It's sad to see other people. You have to run outside your garrison and stand right outside because that's where people gather, so they can have some sense of community when they unphase.
They forced the Hub City for both factions to be on Ashran, that terrible island where the PvP is friggin' god awful, and they keep pushing it. And they just won't give up on it, and it's like, well, like, ugh.
No one likes it.
No one likes it. Stop trying to force. I don't know.
No,
and cut content might be something happening again. I mean,
well, let's roll into this real quick. We'll move on to the next little bit too. The thing that may possibly, I know Blizzard's been talking about this for a very long time, but they want to speed up their content. World of Warcraft, Legion.
I didn't actually see which video you played. Was it their Just a cinematic teaser?
It was just a cinematic teaser. I was going to want to do the whole thing. It was like 4 minutes long. I'm like, nah, you guys
I,
can't see it.
I saw an awesome picture on Reddit. It had a picture of Illidan in the
with
thing,
Gul'dan.
and it said, in case of sub loss, break glass.
In case. All right, I saw another one that was kind of funny. It was a picture of Gul'dan and Illidan going. Gul'dan goes, "Hey, where'd you get that skull?" And Illidan's like, "Oh, nowhere," and throws it. Yeah. First off, I saw, like you said, in case of sub loss, break glass. I really do feel like Blizzard felt like, oh crap, we blew all our best characters in the first, 5 years. Now we're running on fumes. Let's just bring them back.
Might as well
they never confirmed Illidan.
This is Kel'Thas all over again.
I was going to say, they never confirmed Illidan being dead, but that's being nitpicky.
Well,
I personally am happy to see him return because they have yet to do one of the stereotypes when it comes to story, and that's a redeemed, fallen hero. Everybody thought it was going to be Arthas, and then they killed him.
Well,
I'll give
at the
you-
very
I'll-
end,
I will
at the
give so
very,
much
very end of the
How much you
Arthas
want to
one.
bet Illidan is going to get redeemed at the end of this expansion?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm happy
For
they're bringing him
becoming
back, because he's going to...
Well,
He's the leader of the demon hunters.
Yeah.
So if you play a demon hunter, you're one of his followers, which means you're helping everyone. So he's a good guy now.
so
Now this is the question though, and this is kind of looking more into their lore with Warlords of Draenor. Which Illidan is this? Is this actual Illidan or like the
This
alternate
strange
timeline
timeline.
Illidan?
Don't know. I want to say it's actual our Illidan because
I think it is,
on
too, because
the
there
on the
was, like,
Legion website one of the major characters they talk about is Maev.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So,
saying. I think
Mad
it is
Maiev?
because it's Gul'dan might have made it to present time.
Right.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he probably did.
Well, he was thrown into the Twisting Nether at the end of.
Timelines converge at this point. I'm assuming. It's
Well, I mean,
kind
I
of
don't
like the
know-
whole Elder Scrolls Dragon Break thing. We're just.
I don't know if you guys saw what happened at the end of the last raid in Warlords. Is the raid kills Archimonde, a cinematic happens, and Archimonde pretty much throws Gul'dan into the Twisting Nether. So to me, he's most likely in our timeline.
Thrown out of the time bubble that is Warlords of Draenor.
Yeah,
I
you
suppose.
can use the Twisting Nether for everything, because isn't that where Sargeras is too?
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, and think about it. I mean, that's where we're going too. Like Sargeras' tomb was announced.
Yeah, but I always feel like Sargeras, he's like the massive antagonist. The second we down Sargeras is the second World of Warcraft ends. That would be the wrap-up story for World of Warcraft.
Maybe they know their game is coming to an end since they're losing so many subscribers, and this might be the last expansion.
I doubt that. They're not gonna.
I doubt it too.
Because my prediction is when this comes out, they're gonna. Now they're at 5.6 now. They're probably gonna lose more soon. I'm gonna assume.
Are you kidding me? When this was announced, their website went down from so many people trying to sub.
Assume,
Just saying.
I'm gonna assume the subs will peak at 8 million again.
I think
probably.
I would be really curious to see next quarter if the subs jump back up, because literally this announced the websites went down because so many people were trying to resub.
Then people are gonna log in and go, "Oh yeah, there's absolutely nothing to do." I'm gonna wait.
Well, the subscription's still gonna jump like once it comes out.
And you gotta remember, the subscription jump. If all 10 million people buy the box fee at $60 a pop, you know how much money that is?
Yeah, that never happens though.
Oh, come on now. All they gotta do is release a new expansion every year, and they'll keep World of Warcraft going because all of us who've been playing it for years will rebuy it again.
Yeah, I know I suffer from that. Anytime they come out with an expansion, it's like, oh, I'll go check out the new expansion because
I'll
I played
buy it.
It's vanilla.
You'd be surprised how many people would be pissed about that, paying $60 for an expansion that lasts a year with.
But they
I don't think Warlords is worth $60.
No, it was $40.
No, it was 60.
No, it was 60.
Oh, well, I bought it for 40, so I don't know.
Well, there's probably deals about it, but it's gonna be $60. You know it, Mike. Come on, dude. They're selling freaking the Hearthstone tournament for $50 right now to unlock the Hearthstone tournament. Are you kidding me?
Wait,
For a
it's $50 to
free-to-play
join the tournament?
card game the expansion for tournament is $50. $49.99. And
That's crazy.
You know what? People are already buying it.
Well, Hearthstone's just a good game, and their audience is huge for Hearthstone.
But just think about it. You know how much time it took them to program that? One guy probably did it in an afternoon.
I don't know about that.
In comparison, think about it. It didn't take that long.
I don't know. I mean, the expansion, it was funny. I was at work, and I'm sitting there going, I know they're announcing it in 10 minutes, and I know I don't play Warcraft, and I'm going to get hyped about this, but I want to know what it at least is called.
I think they'll...
And I'm sitting there, I'm refreshing MMO Champion on my phone. I'm like, I got to see what this is called. And I was so hyped. I'm texting my friends. I'm freaking out for about maybe 3 hours. Yesterday it was, or 2 days? Yesterday. And before I got out of work, I'm like... I don't even care anymore. I was like, I'm done being hyped right now.
Hey, Setsua, I haven't heard from you in a while. What did you think, man? Are you still?
I haven't played. I haven't played World of Warcraft since it first came out when I was like 15. So you guys keep on having fun with World of Warcraft. It's a good game. I even bought the collector's edition and even got like a part-time job just to buy the collector's edition. So it's a good game. I just haven't got into it for a long time.
I didn't want you to feel left out. I just haven't talked to you much on this one.
Oh, no.
All right. We'll circle back
fine.
when we find our final game, okay? We'll talk about.
All right.
But I mean, so with the announcement of Legion, it's going to jump back up in subscriptions. But I mean, like they actually did something that they promised they were going to do back in Wrath of Lich King. Which amazes me. I don't even know if they intended to keep this promise. I think it might have just been a happy accident. But they finally added another heroic class.
Oh, yeah, we forgot we said we were going to do that. Oh, well, there you go.
It's like, oh, yeah, heroic classes. I was like, yes, when are you going to give us the next one?
That. Yeah.
Technically, they haven't done anything yet. And what's weird is
they're not going to cut the hero.
No. I'm saying.
All right, we're not doing Demon Hunter.
Yeah, no,
it wouldn't be the first time.
You're gonna have to beep that out. I'm sorry.
An expansion.
They'll cut zones. They will not cut that. They cut
what's
that.
Weird is,
people will burn Anaheim to the ground.
Demon Hunter only has 2 specs: tank and DPS.
And I'm happy about that. Actually.
Rogue only has 1 spec. DPS.
No, every class in the game has 3. But
yeah, no, I'm happy they only gave Demon Hunter 2. I don't need 2 melee DPS specs. Don't give me 2.
That's very.
So they gave me 1 DPS, 1 tank. I'm fine with that. It's like the healer doesn't make sense for them.
I'm upset they didn't weasel a range DPS spec in there somehow, because I would have done that. Because I'm not really a melee kind of person. But
they shoot eye beams. They shoot laser beams from their eyes,
which
man.
they don't have anymore.
Oh my god! I saw another awesome picture. I saw another awesome picture on Reddit. It was the picture was titled "Illidan's view of Gul'dan when he broke him out of the crystal," and it was a black page.
Nice.
I mean, they're doing some interesting stuff that actually makes the class completely unique, and I have to give them credits. First, if they keep all of this, this is all speculation, of course, but if they keep what they've said they're doing with the class, which they've never cut content when they've said they're doing something for a class, I'll give them credit there. They've cut content, but not
everything they said is going to be in.
That's a pretty awful assumption.
For the class. I'm fine assuming that for the class, not the game.
For the sake of this podcast, we're just going to assume everything they announced right now is going in.
I mean, they've shown off some of the uniqueness of it, too. They have a unique ability that allows them to see through walls and stealth people, like with their unique vision. They can glide with their wings. They can double jump. They have all of these unique mechanics that don't really partake of battle. I mean, seeing through walls is going to be helpful in PvP, but they have, unique mechanics attached to them. Like, their demon transformation, as far as I could tell, is dependent on what spec you choose. Like, it's a bigger, hulkier one without wings if you're the tank, and then it's the classic Demon Hunter from Warcraft 3 if you do the DPS. And the big thing that they did that really calls to mind, like, vanilla World of Warcraft player, is they race locked it. They race locked it hard. Only the elves can be it. A night elf and a blood elf, and that's it.
I actually didn't even realize that they race locked it. That's actually interesting.
Yeah, only the elves can be a demon hunter, and that's it.
Well, that it honestly
it
makes
makes
a lot
sense
of
lore-wise.
sense. Yeah, because
Like lore-wise, it makes perfect sense. But
because both
to
Night
me,
Elf
I'm really
and
happy about it.
Blood Elf are the same race. They stem from the same progenitor, which was the
Yeah,
High
they
Elves.
just. Well, no,
Yeah, they do. Oh, I know my elf lore, sir.
they all come from trolls.
Yeah, you're a troll.
No, I'm not. I'm not even messing, man. They all come from trolls.
The High Elves, well, we'll say the High Elves were their original progenitor race, and they broke off.
Night elves were first.
Well, the High Elves, yeah, but they were all called the High Elves, and then they broke off, became the
Well,
the
it
Dark
was the
ones.
Highborn. It was
No.
the Highborn of the Night Elves that broke off and became
Yeah.
the High Elf. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all generally the same thing. They were just elves. Yeah.
Well, the confusion came in the fact that High Elves are like our blood elves that are on the Alliance side. They were all Night Elves before they were that. They were the mages of the Night Elves that got exiled, and then they become pink for some reason.
Too much sunlight.
Yeah,
happens.
I guess.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a drug.
I know, telling you.
Mana's a hell of a drug, I'm sorry.
I like that. Is anyone else kind of annoyed at the fact we're leveling to 110 because it's not pretty to look at?
I think it's kind of dumb. I think they should have cut out traditional levels.
Someone else mentioned that too, where they wish they would have
else.
went closer to the Diablo Paragon system, where 100 was it, but they just added a Paragon system afterwards.
Yeah,
which is really just more leveling, just in a different name and a little bit more aesthetically pleasing.
So, as an Advent player from Final Fantasy XI, they had a system like that called the merit system.
Sounds like the champion system, Crabby. Or not champion, veteran system in ESO.
It got really old really fast. So, I mean... So, the issue with that, and when you look at it as a programmer, I mean, obviously there's always ways to work around it, but they're a real pain when it comes to programming. If you're doing like Paragon and stuff, like when you're doing base levels, in Diablo, you learn all your skills as you're doing, and then once you're Paragon, you perfect the skills, get bonus stats, and that's what the merit system was in Final Fantasy XI, except you can learn like new job abilities if you purchased them with enough merit points. The issue with those, though, is that it gets really stale really fast, because especially with the merit system, there was no like additional content to go anywhere or anything like that. You just fought the same thing over and over and over, doing the exact same thing over and over and over just for XP. It's just grind fest heaven for people who like that. It's harder to add like unique job abilities when it comes to that kind of thing, because it's like you would have to... It's a different type of track progression, and it's not a progression track that World of Warcraft has ever done. So they would have to restructure a lot of things, because the only way they can really do it is like you save up enough Paragon points or something, and then you purchase the newest skill. That's a much bigger time sink and much more grindy than most people realize than just 10 extra levels.
Okay. Yeah. Did anyone else feel like this is just a very... I don't want to say content light, because we don't know. But does it feel like it's a feature light expansion?
Like they haven't revealed everything yet,
but they've already.
But let's look at it though. You got the artifact system, which looks personally, I like it. I think that's
Final
really
Fantasy
cool.
had it forever, but okay.
I think
they copied it from Final Fantasy, yes, but at the same time they did it in a very intelligent way. They did it in a way that people who have been with Warcraft and the lore, lore whores, are gonna love it, because you can go and make the Ashbringer, you can get Doomhammer,
and they let you customize the look of it too.
Yeah, and I mean you're only gonna see 20 million other Ret Paladins with Ashbringer, so it'll be fine.
Technically, he's only
still like from a lore standpoint. It's like they're giving you these weapons that are.
Let's talk a little bit mechanically here real quick as well, just because Crabby. Yeah, you'll see 20 million Ret Paladins with that same weapon, but you saw 20 million other characters with the same weapon anyway when best in slot was the thing out of the raid.
Yeah, but the difference between that and this is an iconic weapon that one heroic person is currently wielding.
Who cares?
Which is very unfortunate.
I mean,
we can just pull it off multiple dimensions. It's the multiverse. We just keep pulling it out.
Well,
Stop
it
by
also
a bronze
depends on how
dragon.
they-
Hold on a second. I'll go to a different timeline. Get
I mean,
you one.
even then, like Final Fantasy has that same problem. Like they have the relic system and they've had it in there for a while.
How does every
They
paladin
don't-
have Excalibur? Every one of them.
Yeah, every paladin has Excalibur, kind of the deal. But it's like, according to their story, you're the only person who has it,
Yeah.
kind of deal. I mean, it's something any MMO is going to suffer from. So that's not a fair thing to call them out on.
Unless
Because it's
a
gonna happen
truly
in any
unique
MMO.
one-time drop. Hey, there you go. You got it. It's kind of like ringing the bell at AQ.
no, I know,
Hey,
but
look, I got
like,
the.
I kind of wish they didn't particularly choose Ashbringer because that is probably the most iconic weapon. That's probably the second most iconic weapon. For
There you
example,
go.
what
I was going to say Frostmourne
what
is
they-
the most
well,
iconic.
exactly what I was going to say. What they did with the Frostmourne is very clever.
Which is why in
you're-
Wrath they didn't let you get it as a legendary. They're like, no,
Well,
we're doing something
you're-
different.
You're not getting Frostmourne as an artifact as whatever class they chose. You're getting shards from it and turning it into a different weapon, which I forget the name of it.
It was
which
an
I
X.
think is
It was Frost
Shadowmourne.
something.
I have it.
Shadowmourne. There you go.
No. I'm talking about for Legion.
Oh.
For Legion, the artifact weapon, it's not called Frostmourne. It's
there's-
something else.
They've announced there's
For
36
Dark
of them.
Knights or Death Knights or what do you mean?
It might be a Death Knight weapon, but the whole essence of it is you have fragments of Frostmourne, and you're turning it into a weapon, which is clever because I don't like how you're just getting Ashbringer.
There's 36 different weapons that are coming
There
out.
is, and then the one for Death Knights is like the Axe of Gorebringer or whatever. So
There's another. I gotta find that other one.
I think they probably did one for every spec. Like every if you did the math, I bet you it comes out that there's one for every spec. But here's something that I'm not really fond of. There are no weapon drops in Legion. This
as
is
far
the
as
only
we know
weapon
so far,
No, they came out and said there's no other weapons.
well, you have one weapon.
You have one weapon the entire thing.
What are you going to do for the dual wielding classes?
They'll probably have a dual wield variant. Like
Well,
you'll be able to
okay,
get
so
two of them. Maybe you get.
I play Fury Warrior, so I mean I kind of care about that.
Well, so for example, if you're a Frost DK, you get 2 one-handers.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean as long as I get both, whatever.
No, you'll get.
I don't really
both,
care
like-
because like at the same time I play 14. I thought that was a great experience. Like I got to sit there and actually make my weapon.
I know. I agree.
Like it was
I
mine.
like that, but I also like the ability of going. Do I want to keep upgrading this, or do I just want to grab this? I like there to be a little bit.
We'll see what they
change.
do for raids. Like raids might still drop them.
I almost feel like I would much rather. I know this would take a lot more time. This is a little bit more wishy on me. I wish it was you can upgrade a weapon, or you can get another one that maybe you like a different look of and go. Maybe I want to upgrade this one now. You know,
Super quick for a Frost Death Knight. Icebringer and Soul Reaper are blades forged out of the shards of Frostmourne. All variants have
these,
skulls.
Where are these posted? Where are you looking at?
MMO champion.
I'm gonna have to look at this.
But I like the artifact system. I think it's cool. I think it. I mean, Ashbringer is my only hang up. Other than that, and I guess Doomhammer too. But other than that,
Yeah, Thrall
I think
just gives it to everybody.
Yeah, I know. Other than
one
that,
for
I think
you, one for you,
it's-
one for you.
I like-
He's the Oprah of World of Warcraft. You get a Doombringer, and you get a Doombringer.
I don't know how I'm gonna like the whole class orders system. It seems like Garrison 2.0, and the only
It's
Is it
Garrison.
full-
That's the difference, though. Like, if they make it to where other people of your class are in there with you, that's community.
as far as I know, that is not how it works. I'm pretty sure it's kind of a gateway to get your artifact weapon.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's part of it. Yeah, lore-wise, I'm sure it's part of it because they showed the picture of, hey, artifact weapons. And they seen someone walking with it. And then they all of a sudden you seen a lady in the front of a church holding up Ashbringer. Of course it's probably part of it. But that's the same way garrisons were. There was a big story with the garrisons that kind of...
Okay, I was actually wrong. I'm looking at this right now. Order halls are a base of operations for your class, and you share them with other players of your class. Okay, so yeah, I was wrong with that.
It's garrisons 2.0, but...
Yeah,
share
but
with
like we were
battalions.
saying, if you were able to do it with people, that's community. So that's something that can... It's class locked, I understand, that's kind of crappy, but it's still community. Maybe like it's class quests or something. I'm just speculating, of course, but if they did something like that, it could work.
Right.
But we don't know.
And the best part is they still gave us the central hub, so maybe we only go there to hang out and advance our...
And I kind of have a hang up with that, actually. Dalaran, I like that city. It's cool to bring it back. However, I will be incredibly pissed if it is literally the same exact city. I understand for continuity's sake it should be, but it needs to be reskinned or changed somehow to feel new. Or else that'll be the laziest thing.
At the same time, you're nitpicking then, because like, if you look at it lore-wise, why would they change their city? Like, why would the mages of Dalaran go and like change the outlook of it just because?
No, no, see, that's the thing. I understand that, but I'm looking at it from a... I was literally in the city for the entire expansion.
Yeah.
From an entire expansion, I was already in this city, and now I'm going back to it, and it's the same textures, same lamp right there, same whatever. I want it to be different enough that it looks and feels different. It can't be a copy paste. That would be awful if it was a copy paste.
I feel like they may change a few things, but I can't expect much. All right. I mean, I guess that's pretty much it. We'll talk about that. And we may talk about Legion as next month we learn more. But that was pretty much the big thing that hit Gamescom. We're going to move on to our final thing, which I'm excited for. Sword Coast Legends.
Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm. For those who don't know what Sword Coast Legends is...
Yeah, mute mic. Unmute mic, Setsua. You're up.
Setsua, you can talk now. For those who don't know what Sword Coast Legends is...
All right.
There we go.
If you've ever played any of the top-down D&D type games like Baldur's Gate... this is essentially what it is. It's Baldur's Gate, but there's a really cool thing about this. It comes with a dungeon master system. For those who don't play D&D, obviously you had one player who was the dungeon master who made up the quest. Well, this game will allow you to do this. You'll be able to create the maps, do that, but you can actually adjust a lot of things within this game, such as you can even adjust monster stats to make them like raid bosses. You can control the map. You can set off traps. You can throw more monsters at people. So you can make a map with your friends and make a person DM the game, and they can make it harder. Oh, you guys think it's easy? I'm just going to release a wave of zombies. Here you go. I think this will be a ton of fun, and obviously at the top of the thing I talked about doing this for Dungeon Crawler Network because I think this would be a blast. Yeah.
I definitely agree that I think this would be fun, and I think it would also be fun, like, if you get your fans or our fans, I don't know if I'm considered a part of this yet, but
you are now.
The fans involved. Okay, our fans involved, and do like a live Twitch stream and let them be the GM or something.
Yeah. I think that would be a lot of fun to do that, yeah. That's actually a really great idea, like having a group of the DCN crew go through it, have one person be the DM and take votes from the chat.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you know what you're gonna get? You're gonna get spawn boss, spawn boss, spawn boss, spawn boss, spawn wave of bosses.
All I have to say is that sucks for us.
Yeah. We're all gonna die.
We're all gonna die. Well, then I'm just gonna make a friend who's a berserker and kill everything with me.
I don't know how to play a real D&D game, but I would probably go with the mage.
Yeah, if you haven't checked this out yet, guys, this is
that's actually, I'm sorry, kind of. Do you know if they have talked about what kind of like character system they're implementing?
What do you mean? It follows.
Like, is it going to be like Baldur's Gate kind of thing, or are you going to be able to like choose your class, roll stats, kind of deal,
You know,
like an actual D&D?
I don't know. I haven't really dug into it all that much. I know that it's all the D&D races from Forgotten Realms because it's obviously the Sword Coast. It's Baldur's Gate. You can do all of that
You'll
kind
get
of
your
stuff.
dwarves.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how close the stat. I'm sure the stats, obviously. Okay, Setsua, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's not a problem. Thanks for having me, guys. Sorry I had to cut out a little short.
That's all right.
Oh, you're good. Life happens. I'll
Oh.
see you tomorrow,
Yeah,
my
man.
friend from Chocobo Knights.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll see
Early.
you guys tomorrow for Chocobo Knights. Yep, 12:30.
We're
Just
starting
for
at
yeah, for 12:30 tomorrow.
All right. Well, hopefully our look doesn't change much, or else I'm gonna have to adjust all of this. It'll be fun.
Oh, it's going to.
Thanks,
I guarantee
Setsua.
Just
No,
mute your
it's-
mic and leave.
Just I can just leave it up for a minute. Don't worry about it. Don't make me do work.
Oh man, yeah, I'll leave it on then. I'll
Oh,
just
I
put it
love
on
you.
mute.
Thank
I'll
you.
just put it on mute. Not a problem.
I love
man.
you
I
so
don't-
much.
And, well, you.
You're
Thanks.
the best. You're the best.
Well,
Serenade him later. It's gonna be great. All right.
This is getting weird now.
Yeah. I know. Dungeon
Just
Crawler
make it
Network
count.
After Dark. That's what we should have called this show.
We should
It's late
do that.
enough.
Next podcast.
Next
would be,
podcast, Dungeon Crawler Network
yeah.
After Dark.
The 12 o'clock.
Well,
We'll
if
just-
you do your,
We'll just hang out and marinate each other all night.
if you
I'm gonna have to put an
we get enough of followers for the Sword Coast Live thing, we could definitely do an 18+ one because I can guarantee you I will cuss if
Oh,
I get hit in the face with a fireball.
I
Like,
hope
good
I
night,
try
guys.
not to, but
Good night,
my
Setsua.
goodness. Yeah, who was I? Oh, well, it's not quite Sword Coast Legends, but we were playing ESO, doing the vet DSA with Art, Kip, and Siri, and I was like the entire time, I'm like, man, I wish I was recording. It was hilarious, but it would have had to have been an 18+ because it was filthy. It was hilarious, but it would have made an interesting stream, but it would have definitely been 18+. So we'll have to do that older. But this really excites me, guys. Like, this really does. I mean, it's not an MMO, which I love MMOs, obviously,
It's a
but
dungeon crawler.
yeah, it is a dungeon crawler, and it holds a lot of potential for a lot of fun. I'm not sure how the stats are going to go, if it's going to roll as much. I'm sure because it's a game, I don't know if there's going to be as much rolling of dice, but maybe like your race choice will be dependent. Like, oh, if I pick a halfling, obviously my stats are better suited to a thief type character than a berserker. I could probably roll a berserker, but I don't quite have the strength stats that another race would have. I'm assuming it's probably going to follow something similar to that. Maybe there's going to be light rolling of the dice to mess with your racial stats, but I don't know. I don't know how deep that's going to get. But even so, there's some pretty cool stuff with this. I'm excited. And one of the things I know I was talking about was our friends over at Mog Nation. If you don't know who they are, they're really cool. Cash, he's a great guy. I was tweeting out about this, and he's all excited about it. Him and we're playing this. Just that's it. It is. He's part of our Elder Scrolls Online guild. But yeah, we're playing this pretty hardcore. I know we will. Because
I can already tell you I'm going to be playing it hardcore too. Like, me and my roommates play Dungeons and Dragons the weekly and stuff like that, so I'm definitely getting it.
oh yeah, because this is Dungeons and Dragons. Because one of you can make the adventure. I'm sure they have campaigns. They've already said that, but you'll be able to make your own adventure. You can. This is like this game right here is the modern pen and paper D&D. Someone can still play Dungeon Master. They just make a dungeon, say this is our adventure, and it's visual. You can go through. You can have
And
your
like
character.
you can add NPCs, you can have your story, you can have dialogue, you can have quests, side quests, and all this other kind of stuff
Yup.
that they're adding into it. So it's not just a dungeon or anything like that. It's the whole campaign kind of deal they want to do.
This, I think, has amazing potential. I'm talking staying power of games like Skyrim with mods. Like Skyrim.
Oh,
still,
no, I mean the community, because you're going to have people making, like, the current Shadowrun Returns game. You're going to have people just making campaigns and releasing
look at
it.
Neverwinter, like the Neverwinter Nights. How popular that was with the modding community.
Not even mods, though. That's what I'm saying. No,
Yeah.
you're just going to have people making campaigns, not
Yeah.
even modding.
Oh, that'd be awesome. And I'm sure there's going to be some people who like stick to the lore. Like, can you imagine someone making a campaign off the current D&D books, like the R.A. Salvatore books? I'm sure someone will do it, where they'll sit down and read the books and go, let's play through the story in game.
I believe it. It's
Yeah.
going to happen.
If I had the time, I'd do it. But yeah, I think that's
Having the time's the issue.
exactly. I don't know. This really excites me, and I'm really curious to see what our DCN family think about this, if they would be at all interested. If you haven't checked it out yet, guys, seriously, check out Sword Coast Legends. Do a nice Google search here, and just check out what it's got, man. It looks... This is probably one of the single-player games that I am most excited for. I haven't been excited for a single-player game. I mean, it's not really single-player, but, a non-MMO in a long time. I really only ever get excited about MMOs. But this has me excited.
And it's still something that you can play with people online and have a community for.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It qualifies.
It's not persistent world, but...
Close enough.
Yeah, characters can be persistent. You can play the same character. That's what they're saying. You can bring your characters into other campaigns when people do it.
I believe it. I mean, that's what you do in
that
current D&D.
Yeah, it's not when you can create a character and it's tied to your account, and then you just bring it where you want. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. I can't say much more than I am just hyped for this game like crazy. So
I'm super excited for it too. I know my face doesn't show it, but I am super excited.
I'm super excited. It's just the exhaustion
I am super
here
excited
that I'm just tired. But yeah, no, this is pretty sick. So, all right. I don't know if anyone else has anything they want to say about Sword Coast Legends.
It's going to be awesome, and I'm going to play the crap out of it.
There you go. Me too.
That's all
I'm looking at it right now thinking, what can I convince the East to let me buy in terms of pre-order? Sit here looking at it like, I could really play this. Oh, I really want to throw some money at it, but how much money can I get away with before she beats me? Choices. Because they have some pretty nice pre-order bonuses. Like one of the things you can pre-order, I'm looking at it right here. If you get the digital deluxe edition, gives you a copy of the Sword of the Coast. It's only $34 for the digital pre-order, which is the game. The digital deluxe, I think, gives you the Dungeon Master rights. So I think you have to either upgrade or something afterwards. But one of the things that allows you to do is you get a beholder for the Dungeon Master. So the Dungeon Master can play a beholder. Like that's something that they can play if you're playing as the Dungeon Master.
What is a beholder?
It's the floating eyeball.
Giant eyeball thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that's pretty darn exciting. So there's a few things on here that I'm looking at that's really, really cool. I love the D&D universe, and that cloth map of the Sword Coast is pretty sick. I'm really going to have to beg to buy that. It's like over $200. But
now you're just promoting for free again.
Yeah. Sword Coast Legends, Dungeon Crawler Networks accepting sponsors. You can pay us in copies of Sword Coast.
We'll play it on Twitch for you.
Setsua is not even here, but it says it's coming to PC and Mac and Linux in September, and apparently PS4 eventually as well.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
but the question again is if it's going to be cross.
Yeah, cross is, I don't know. September, man. September 29th, it's coming.
Going to be good.
I don't know. This, honestly, depending on how good the community is, this might... I don't know. I'm not going to say much about it because there's some pretty cool stuff.
You can make it a weekly game, like a weekly podcast or a weekly...
It would be kind of cool to do a weekly podcast about the game that we're playing. Like we do like a community night and do a live podcast while we're doing it and just put it out.
Why not?
Maybe an idea. I don't know. I'm pretty excited about it because it does look sick. And I'm just hovering my mouse over the pre-order right now.
All right, let's move on before you spend money.
Face is in the room though, so I have to wait till she turns around. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Sword Coast Legends, guys. That's a thing, and we're all excited. Let us know if you guys, as part of our community, would be interested in doing stuff like this. I really do like the idea of the weekly podcast for a game night for Sword Coast Legends, and having the chat determine what the DM does. That's really cool.
I think you know what I think I could. It would be extremely simple, and I could stream it because I have pretty good upload. I could just stream us playing it and all on Skype and have our pictures around the layout of the game, and
Well, we could do
just
that as
have
like
it like
the.
that.
That's what I'm saying. It's like we could do a weekly game like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if we wanted to like get the community involved, we can also do a separate one where they take votes
Right.
on what to do.
We do all sorts of
Right,
stuff
right.
with this. There's a lot we can do.
I do not fear this game to be bad enough that I will only want to play it once a week. So
I mean, it's a fairly simple model. Like, I mean, D&D, and it's top-down Baldur's Gate style adventure. How awesome is that, right? I mean, let's
Pretty
face
great.
it. That is what it is. I don't know. All right. I love the Baldur's
it's
Gate.
going to be good. It's
It
going to
is.
be good.
All right, guys. We've reached the end.
We made it.
We made it, guys.
Only
Totally
10
through.
casualties.
With only one. Yes, Setsua was dead, but he didn't turn it off, so I'm happy.
Setsua's dead.
Setsua's dead.
What are we going to do?
Well, I don't know. I guess you're the new host of Chocobo Knights. Good luck.
Well, that escalated quickly.
I know, right? We just went all over.
I got a butter knife here.
You hosted
Let's see how hard I can jab it into my eye.
Oh, there you go. And then it definitely would be an 18 rated show. The East is going, I'll host it if I can breastfeed on camera. I'm like, we'd probably get more views.
Wow.
We would. I think Twitch has a policy against that, but
They definitely do. So does
Believe
YouTube
they-
and
Well, no, I
everything.
don't know. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think they have a policy against showing off too much, but I don't think it's legally allowed to say anything about breastfeeding. Like, if you're breastfeeding, if there's a baby attached there, I don't think they can legally say anything.
Oh, they can.
Well,
They will.
you're-
Oh,
It
no,
doesn't matter.
they legally
they can't.
cannot. They legally cannot say anything about breastfeeding.
Doesn't mean they won't.
I don't care.
I mean,
you know what?
the
I
channel-
hope they do that
the
so then
channel
we
could
can
get
sue
taken
Google
down.
and get money out of it. Okay, I'm fine with this.
Well, I mean, it's also publicity. You know, that's free advertisement.
Yeah, right. True. Come see my son suck on a booby. Yay. All right.
This is some weird closing thoughts.
No, this entire like these dungeon crawler ones, like one of our 5-star reviews was great family oriented podcast. No.
Oh, jeez.
Whoops.
DCN one, not so much. I'm gonna have to edit all this. It's just gonna be beep everything. It's gonna be funny. All
My
right.
entire picture's just a blur.
Yeah, just we're blurring out our faces. Like you just can't see it. All
You
right.
didn't do it. Wasn't us.
Final thoughts, guys. Crabby, go ahead. Give us your thoughts on what we talked about.
Oh, man, I am so tired.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's my
no,
final thoughts. I'm done. I'm going to bed.
Now.
it was fun. I love doing these monthly shows. Yeah, the Final Fantasy 14 is done being installed again. I subscribed again, so I'm gonna log in tomorrow morning and check it out. Yeah, I'm just really tired.
Nice. Brodin, thanks so much, man, for coming on late notice. I literally texted you like 10 minutes before the show. I'm like, hey,
I enjoy it, man. I'll be here every single show if you want me to.
I'll include you on the email now. All you got to do is say, hey, I want in. I always need 4 seats. We fill them up, obviously, as I say. If we get new people, you know, they all part of DCN group. But if we try to rotate, if someone's been on like 90 episodes and someone else wants to come on, I may have to ask people to sit. But hey, I would rather
You're the first
have.
one to go, Crabby.
Yeah, oh, I will be. I've been on every episode.
I don't
so,
know
mean,
though. He's been on every episode consistently. I think I might just have to punish other people because he's at least the person who I can count on to be on every episode.
Hey, I have been in attendance of all 2 episodes I have been invited to, so I have 100%
This
too.
is true. He's 100% as well. But yeah, no, I would much rather have a bunch of DCN people go, hey, I want to be on, and then I have to ask people to sit than have to beg people to come on.
It's like I said, this is what I like to do. I like to sit around, shoot, just talk about stuff.
Games.
mess around, games, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, I don't really know how I have such a dedicated girlfriend. It's really amazing. It's, I mean, she plays 14 with me, but I mean, she's not as nearly as huge a gamer as I am, and she doesn't go on these 2 hour long tangents about like their lore and, and their
Almost
mechanics and
2.5 hours. Actually, we're over 2.5 hours at this point. So.
Oh no, I'm talking like what I do in my free time with my other friends.
what
I
I do
have like 4 hours. Yeah, they're not even recorded, but I have like 4 hour tangents at bars with one friend all the time. So it's just what I do. It's what I
Can you
enjoy
imagine
doing.
all the other guys looking at you like you're sitting there drinking? Darn it, they nerfed Dark Knight again, and everyone's like, "What the heck? Why can't we just talk about sports?"
Because sports are lame.
Sports are lame. You don't know until you've raided Alexander Savage.
You have no idea. You don't know my life. Well, and that's the funny thing too. Is like I enjoy sports. I'm just a nerd. I'll watch football if people invite me to go watch football. I mean, that's not. It's a weird stereotype, but it's not a real stereotype.
My guilty pleasure is I buy the new Madden every year, and that's the only sports game I'll ever play.
I buy Madden maybe
was buying steel boxes.
I buy Madden maybe every 4 or 6 years because it's the same game.
Yeah,
it is. It's the same game.
I play like every single fighter. Like I am a fighting game fanatic. I play every RPG and fighting game that comes out. So, hence is why my email is a fighting game character. If you didn't know that,
that's all.
Right. Well, not most people knew about Guilty Gear until the new one came out. But like back on the PS2 era, it was not that well known of. But whatever. I'm a huge fantasy fan, hence, like, I love dark fantasies, everything about them. I love just talking about this kind of stuff, so it's always a pleasure, and I'm always happy to come on, unless my girlfriend says I can't. Then I can't.
Then I can't.
That's the final say, is the missus, It's like, hey, I'm going to go do a 2-hour podcast. It's like, no, you're not. It's like, okay, I'm not.
I guess I'm not. Sorry.
Like, hey, Setsua, I can't come. The missus says I can't, so you're on your own.
I'm not allowed to come out and play today.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, that's actually why we have to start it early tomorrow. I have to go do something with my missus. So I was like, hey, we gotta start earlier than normal because I can't make that time. I mean, it's a completely legitimate reason, and it's something that I'm actually like, no, okay, everything else I had planned needs to go away.
Yeah. And
we have to take care of this kind of situation. So, I mean, it's understandable, and I explained it to them, and we all get it. So we're just going to start early so we can still do it. Yeah.
Nice.
Should be fun. And then I get to take care of that thing, and then I have to come home and raid herd cats.
Herd cats. Always about herd cats.
Gotta herd cats in Alexander.
Nice. All right. Well,
my closing thoughts are, I'm sorry. I'm optimistic to see what Legion brings. It has some interesting ideas that can really help it out. That CEO dropping down, I think, is a good idea. And the way I want my MMOs to die is with a conclusion, but not maintenance mode. I rather just have a conclusion and kill it.
Nice. Yep, I think I'm of my MMOs to die with just pull the plug. Even while I'm playing, don't even get any announcements. Just like server went down. Oh, what happened? Server went down, and then they go, yeah, we're just shutting down.
Like it's down forever for you.
That's it. That's it. I'm sad to see John Smedley go. It's pretty sad. Gamescom. Obviously, the only thing about Gamescom is World of Warcraft. I really think the subscription numbers only dropped because of how anti-MMO Warlords was. Hopefully, they bring back some of the MMO in Legion. We'll see. Sword Coast Legends. Oh my goodness. That's it, guys. All right. I hope everyone enjoyed this podcast. This has been a Dungeon Crawler Network production. We do this every month. Come on back, watch it. You'll enjoy it. We may start doing live stream shows when I move to a new house and have better internet, but that may happen. Thank you guys.
If we do live stream shows, we don't have to use your internet.
This is true. Yeah, this is true. I don't know. It's just something we could do. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. We hope you enjoyed. See you later, everybody.